My father used to say, "Watch this man."
He's been cited by IGN, The Quartering, Timcast, The Daily Wire, Bounding into Comics, and even Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. It's only too bad Valiant beat him to Gutfeld.
Disney insider WDW Pro recently speculated on.
Time and time again, he's broken big entertainment news live on the air.
I've been following WDW Pro and his track record for years. If you want to find out what's on the horizon for theme parks, Pro is where you go.
There he goes again. Honey Badger gonna do what Honey Badger gonna do. Scooping and scooping and scooping.
Morty, let's check in on Rian Johnson's new trilogy.
Okay. I bypassed the compressor.
What did you do, Ray?
Son of a death, leave a mark.
Now, he was okay, after 6-7 weeks. Okay? They get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's the standard, what would George do?
I don't want you here.
So sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Blimey, you fools.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Weird. Stay away from liquor, kids.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Cowabunga! Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
The Force will be with you. Always.
That's how winning is done.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
That's what she said.
I am Batman.
If I won tonight, I would come home and we'd celebrate. Well, I'm coming home, we're celebrating. God bless you all.
Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lighting at the Magic Kingdom will dim for the performance of the Pro Show. We hope you enjoy and have a magical, truthful time. For the safety of others, please, no flash photography. And welcome to Provision 3D.
All right, everyone, put on your comfy glasses. Oh boy,
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
You know that you've been taught the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yes, Paul.
Autobots, roll out.
I'm bringing the party to you.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money?
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
We're gonna do it!
All right, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man.
Are you okay?
They'll never take our freedom!
From the redwoods of California to the hills of Tennessee to the Rockies and the Sunshine State and Maine with that bright and shining sea. From coast to coast in North America, it's time for your host with the most, bringing you all the entertainment news that should be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the show that explains entertainment and gives journalists the next day's headlines. It's the Pro Show Live!
Hello, folks. Howdy. How are you? How have you been? We are here again, yet again, right here, and streaming to you from somewhere sunny USA and ready to get underway with the news of the day. Jonas J. Campbell, how are you, sir?
So good to be here. In the words of Ralph the dog, together again. Something together again. Actually, I met him the other day. Bill Beretta, not Jim Henson, of course.
It's about as close as you can get. How was the experience with Mr. Bill?
Well, it's a funny thing. I was in a proximity to Paul Williams, of all people. And Paul Williams is very easy to spot on the street. And I gave him a salute. And he didn't see me because, you know, he's whatever. He's thinking his genius songwriter thoughts. But behind him, the person behind waved at me. And I went, well, in my brain, I said a word that I won't repeat. But that's one of the amazing Muppet performers. Steve Whitmire was not among them, though.
He was fantastic. A couple of boots down is what I had heard. So
yes. Steve Whitmire was there, mask on, even though I don't think he charged people half price in order to take pictures with him. I suppose that's the
well, Jonas. We've got a ton of news to cover today, and we've taken some flack, not much, but some, for covering the near tragedy that we had, which I think would have been a worldwide tragedy. I think it really would have thrown the whole world into tumult. And some out there think that by us being anti-assassination, that is political. And I just frankly defy that in every way possible. I think that, we've always been against murder somehow. And we're going to continue to be against that and continue to be for life and goodness and hope and all of those things. And I would just recommend, folks, we only have one story in regards to that today. Most of this gets back into being more normal today, and thank goodness for it. We could use some of that. But I would just say that when it comes to Mark Hamill and how he's behaving himself, Luke Skywalker believed in the best of Darth Vader. Luke Skywalker did not kill Darth Vader. We could use Mark Hamill to be more like Luke instead of the anti-Luke. And right now I think he's more aligned with the Joker, and perhaps he's more comfortable with that. Jonas, as we get ready to bring on the panel, I also want to say, folks, a huge thank you for your support of Vacation Radio. You've made this new venture that we've done a success. We need a little bit more help, though, and I'll explain why. And very, very briefly, ladies and gentlemen, as we are nearing 350 of you in the audience, it turns out that YouTube did not want to count any of the viewership hours that we obtained in about the first month of Vacation Radio. But now they are. Maybe somebody over there checked it out and said, oh, this is legit. I can only surmise that they saw the vast support you were showing and that it got flagged or something for a little while. So we're going to need another month of support to get that thing going. Until then, YouTube will not be showing it to anyone. It's just on us to support it. And so we hope that you will stream and subscribe to Vacation Radio. Check it out. Watch the 24/7 live stream. It's radio. It's original content. Almost all the lyrics done by myself. People like Ron Bradley of Follow Bradley's Fun have contributed. Also, Stuttering Guitarist has been contributing quite a bit in terms of his musical prowess. So we really, really do need you to just let that stream in the background and have a sunny, happy time. All right, Jonas, that is the paperwork out of the way. Let me see. All right, folks, it's time to get down to the news of the day. So, Jonas, bring on the panel.
That's right. First of all, I want to bring on one of my co-hosts from over there at That Game Place, a channel that, well, I'm going to say we haven't quite gotten full monetization yet, but we have applied. We've reached the threshold where we can add super chats to the live stream. So stay tuned for that over on That Game Place. But more importantly, we want to represent one of the most underrepresented communities in America. That is the fabricated American community. Welcome, Marvin, the movie monster.
Hello, Jonas. Hello, Pro. It is a good day to be anti-assassination.
Yes, it is. As it is every day.
A bold statement.
We also, oh my, I'm not going to stop here because I could take over your whole show ranting about this issue. We also want to add in someone who might have a bone to pick with Marvin the Movie Monster. I talked about him before. Let's bring him on. It appears to be Kermit the Frog.
Hi ho. I believe that's Kermit the Forg.
I thought it was Kermit the Goof.
He stole my whole act.
I thought we agreed that we could only have one investigative reporter on this channel today.
I was called in because you couldn't do the lyrics. Together again. Gee, it's good to be together again.
Oh, that's actually really good. You're gonna make me tear up thinking about the Muppets here. But you know what I really am excited about bringing in here. A man that I haven't checked out one of his TV guide reviews in a while, and these are like a sleeper hit on YouTube. Once people find out what they are, once they click on them, they don't have some weird shocked face on the thumbnail. Well, maybe sometimes they do. I got to bring in this guy, my favorite former Canadian network executive, and also the host of Appalling News, the man who is too hot for X, Paul Chatto.
Nice to be here. I just want to say earlobes matter.
Marvin, so why I keep getting
understand.
Pictures of earlobes?
That's correct.
Some Marvin of us don't have earlobes. Yeah, some of us don't have earlobes.
Well, I don't know what we're saying then.
That just means that you're a protected class. Just another protected class.
Well, one thing I will say that I believe I am able to say is Orange Lives Matter.
I get it because that's at least two people. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe it's apropos that the current head of security for the Secret Service was guarding Cheetos for the last few years. So she's good at that.
That includes Hulk Hogan, by the way, in that as well.
All right, folks. Let me just say we put out a poll, and we're getting quite a bit of people claiming that they're not receiving any kind of notification for the show today. Only half of you in the poll right now are saying that you received a notification at all. So you're going to have to share this out, let people know, hey, Pro is live. We may be on the naughty list, but we're happy to be there if that's what it takes to tell the truth. We'll keep doing it. And folks, that's what we're going to be doing today. Jonas, before we get to the truth of the matter is we need super chats up on the screen.
That's right. I've got two. I don't know how many are on your screen, Pro, but I'm going to bring these up. First of all, Packing Protons for $10. Disney is not too big to fail. Bob Iger does not care about the parks. The parks are Disney. How long until rides only run when there are people to wait for them? I don't know if you're aware of this, Packing Protons, but sometimes we do cover Disney, and I'm starting to notice a downward trend myself.
Yes, and we've got a big story about just how badly this Tiana's Bayou adventure situation is going for Disney. It's terrible. And Caroline Reed has been doing wonderful work over there on Forbes. She's got the details. We're going to cover that. It's really fascinating to look and see just how badly they've damaged the parks. I'll also say this too. I talked about this on the Patreon this morning. This last time that I went to Disney World was the worst I have ever seen the parks be, ever. It's not even close. And I thought last summer was bad. And then things kind of improved in the off season. But my gosh, we'll talk about this more on the channel. But the way that they treated huge, I mean, thousands of guests inside Magic Kingdom was just bizarre. You would never convince someone inside any rational business to do that. But that's what happened.
And then, Pro, you go over to Universal across town, and everyone is kind, and the theming is on point now all of a sudden, and the food is getting better. The gap is rapidly shrinking.
Well, here's an idea for Disney. If you're going to have thousands of people in your theme park, one, if your app that allows people to get food stops working, you should still be able to give them food, especially hours before the park closes. And oh, by the way, if they want to then escape to go find food somewhere else because you're no longer serving food, maybe don't shut down the monorails because, oh, well, it's expensive. So, no food and Trapped. It was a wonderful time. 50 minutes if you wanted to get a hot dog, and the little person in front of Casey's Corner, when you'd say, hey, we can't order food. We just want a hot dog. If you order online, you will get in your food more fast. No, you don't understand. We can't order online. The system's down.
If you order online, you will get more food fast. Okay, I give up. I will starve.
Well, I mean, what part of their revenue really comes from selling overpriced food at a theme park when they have a captive audience, right? It couldn't be that much.
Exactly.
I personally want to encourage Pro to keep going on this rant because the last time I was on a video where you went on this rant, I got like 50 new subscribers. So lay on. Let him have it. Go for it.
Can't do it, but we will soon.
Packing Protons for $5. A Mexican Iron Man stream watching Alf running next to a Lauren stream watching the Acolyte would bring boku charity bucks. Just saying. If we do it for charity, we can do cruel things to our friends, right?
What did she
Only
ever
if
do
Lauren
to
will
you?
allow it.
WDW Pro gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships.
That's right. And folks, if you would like to turn the chat green, well, you could be obscenely generous by gifting memberships, and I'm sure those out there would love to join us. We'll be having actually quite a bit of member-exclusive content coming up the second half of this month with the 4th holiday and then the travel needed to do all of the Disney reporting. We've been out of the pocket a little bit, and so we have not been able to do as much member-exclusive content, but we'll make that up on the backside of the month and get ready for the back 9 to be filled with member-exclusive stuff, including, I believe, there is the possibility. I haven't looked at this lately. Let me see very fast, folks. We may be on track. Let's see. Yeah, we are 400 subscribers away from 80,000. And so by the end of the month, we may have an 80K subscriber celebration. If that happens, you bet we'll have member exclusive sides. All right, folks, I think I know why YouTube is not telling anybody that this show is live. As I was looking at the subscriber amounts, and folks, that just means you're in for a more, what will we say, intimate conversation today. But as I am looking at what is happening currently, we have a video. That video about Tenacious D from this morning has exploded. That may be the fastest growing video I've ever done. And we've had some big ones. So that might be why YouTube's not happy. Who knows? So maybe we'll have more friends next time. But for now, we're thrilled.
But before we move on, though, I think that Kermit might have something to say.
Oh, I heard green.
It's not easy being green.
No,
could you all turn the chat green, please?
Oh my.
Kathleen Morrison, member for 15. What are your predictions for Acolyte besides bad?
Can I just say?
When you want to dive into that?
No, I want Shadow to talk about this. Shadow, we may just do a full segment unplanned. You just tell us what you think is going to happen. I don't know because
I don't know.
There's nothing logical for me to, at this point, we're 7/8 of the way through. I don't care who's in it because none of these characters have any care that's consistent. I don't know what storyline is supposed to be. I don't know anything more than when we started, and I care less than ever before. Paul, what's your take on what might happen?
Well, the challenge is that you had on one hand a mystery that was so obvious that we riffed on other possibilities that it wasn't Keimer being Sith Green. So pretty much all of us figured it was Keimer. But like I said, we had fun thinking, oh, maybe it's Indara and she just faked her death. I mean, we had so much fun trying to figure out actually more interesting possibilities in a Agatha Christie kind of way. But then it turned out it was Keimer and we went, okay, fine. And then there was the surprises, which we were flabbergasted at. For instance, when Indara saved the Wookiee, Kelnaka, from the mind control of the witches, she just wiped out 50 witches and went, okay, perhaps the mind control thing is not the best weapon to use in a situation if it has such a bad downside, sort of like the memo that they should have sent to the J.J. Abrams film. The Death Star doesn't work. Like 3 times the charm. No, you need to.
It was mass. What would you call this? Mass thread exhaustion. Mass threat exhaustion all at once.
Is that the you're just making that up, or is that what?
I'm making it up. Yes, absolutely.
Well, okay.
No, this obviously happened in Star Wars before. When the Master Control ship in the Phantom Menace was taken out, obviously all of the droids stopped functioning, right? So in the same way, it still really doesn't make sense. But it's the same exact lazy. We don't have to clean this up mess that they did in I'm sorry, I'm gonna call out George on that one. We don't have to clean this up idea, just like all the Chitauri dying at the end of Avengers because the ship blew up in the atmosphere or in space.
If there's one theme they've been hammering home to us throughout this entire show, it's that the power of one is so much stronger than the power of many. They were just being consistent, right?
That's not what they claimed, though. On the packaging, they clearly said that the power of many will clean your clothes better.
It is an all-female coven.
It is.
I wish for consistency. So let's redub the original Star Wars, and he can say, "Luke, use the Force, but not too hard, or else you'll yourself."
No. Ease off on the Force, Luke. But I'm glad that the whole place burned down because then I could use Coven Oven. Which is, rhyme.
That's perfect.
I was just glad in my review I got to use the clip from Hocus Pocus where Zachary Biggs goes, "The witches are dead."
Nothing says loving like something from the Coven.
From Coven from the oven. So the thing is, you now have completely unpredictable things. You've got the obvious stuff that we knew was obvious, and then we've got a litany of things which are written in the script for convenience purposes. For instance, they've been on the planet for 7 weeks. What's a week, actually? That's an Earth time. And they've got this comfy, large ship, and they're sleeping in tents. I mean, there's just so much nonsense. Why did they start a fire? I mean, it's just, again, and you've got like the burning rocks. I mean, they've got things that
it's as if a human didn't make this.
You can't guess. Suddenly, Keimer is nice to Osha when he was trying to kill everybody, and no one knows which side at any time Osha and May is on. And why did Saul try to lift the 2 bridges when all he had to do was force lift the 2 girls, which didn't weigh more than 10 pounds each? So.
How about the fact
we still don't know why May, who fell into the abyss, what did she do? Land on a mattress? Like,
there's always one waiting on you, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. So we have no idea. And the problem with the writing is that they don't set things up in any way. And you don't watch the show, so it doesn't really matter, Tom. But there's no.
But I'm just as confused as you. If you notice, that?
It's not even. It's so I did a little short on it. Is that I think what's going to be fun about tonight's show is that we are going to be surprised by the utter idiocy of the solutions they've come up with, and we're just going to be howling
for the laughter. Idiocy of the problems that we can't understand. You're
Correct.
Exactly right.
We're just I have never anticipated a bad show more than this.
I think my one prediction for tonight is that we're going to find out that much like they were controlling Jedi Wookiee, we're going to find out that Mama Horns is controlling Asian Ezra Miller, Smilo Ren, and that's going to be the major, because she poofed away and she didn't keel over with all the other witches.
No,
so
she didn't.
She's definitely behind this. I think they go as far as to make her Darth Plagueis, but yeah, just to further screw up the prequels. Also, why won't they say midi-chlorians? Why won't Disney say midi-chlorians? They're saying M-count at this point. Midi-chlorians is one of the least offensive things put into Star Wars compared to what we've got in the last decade or so. At this point, put Jar Jar in there, and I'm okay with it. Just stop this.
Oh, it's a lovely day when we want Jar Jar back. We have reached.
I never had a problem with Jar Jar, just too much of him. I mean,
that's right.
I didn't get on the racism kick at all.
Paul, we can never have too much of you. After the Acolyte after party or after the Acolyte show tonight, Paul, if you want to help on the after party with us, you're welcome. I don't know what your plans are, but I would.
I have to write some kind of review quickly because they take me a day usually, but I have to do it quickly because I'm getting into our RV with my son and heading off to see Mexican Iron Man.
What I would like, Paul, is if you could just join us for 30 seconds and without any words, stare into the screen so that we can view your face and understand what you've suffered.
Send me the link. I am really looking forward to this madness. I mean, in a way that I didn't look forward to the Rings of Power. The Rings of Power was a turgid mess, whereas I don't know. There's a charming incompetence to this that I find vaguely, you know, this whole show is like taking chemotherapy.
Because it's like injecting poison into
there's
your
veins. There's no positive result from it.
Well, the only positive result is
empowering.
that you're not going to die, and not to make fun of all you people out there who are cancer sufferers. I'm not trying to make a joke of that. I mean, this is an extremely bad, tasteless joke. But you know, I can't imagine.
It certainly makes me nauseous, weak, and makes my hair fall out.
That's right. I mean, you should get a puppet with the hair full.
I'm starting to see why X is bereft of Paul Chados. I'm starting to see it, folks. All right, let's get to the first.
Don't we call it exile at this point?
Yes, he's been exiled. I got it. I got it. All right, folks. Let's get to the first news story. We're going to come back to those super chats in just a moment. We appreciate all your super chats. No super chat will be left behind, and we'll give them their attention that they are due. But we're almost a half hour in, and we got to hit the news. But it's a perfect segue opportunity because Disney cannot be happier that the Acolyte is ending. And so all of the defenders out there, all of the Paul Tassies, the Scott Mendelsons, they're just carrying the water for a dead horse. You can lead a dead horse to water, but he ain't going to drink. And that's where we are. You can pour it up his nostrils, won't matter one bit. Take a look at this. This is out of Now It's Known. Mac is the guy, and what a great resource. At Now It's Known, folks. Everybody should be following at Now It's Known over on X. And I believe this is brought to us via Nielsen. It is. Okay. I was making sure we didn't have a variety somewhere below it. But Nielsen. And here's the big news. So over the last, 3 or 4 or 5 months, we've been predicting that Tubi would overtake Disney Plus. And last month it did. And this month it happened again. Now, the fascinating thing about this is that Tubi only comes below Disney Plus in the list here because they use the alphabetical ordering when the exact same percentages are reached. But if we were to go past the first decimal point, Tubi has beaten Disney Plus 2 months in a row. Now, why is that big news? Well, first of all, because this is from June. And what was going on during June? Well, the Acolyte. The Acolyte was going on during June. A Star Wars live-action series was going on during June. It was supposed to be lifting Disney Plus up. Instead, Tubi is beating it. We'll talk about Tubi in just a second, but I also want to say this about the Disney Plus situation.
Tubi all the time.
Easy, Tubi master. The other thing, folks, take a look at Hulu. We have been watching Hulu drop precipitously in this percentage of how much they share in total TV viewing time.
And I was going to, that's what I wanted to bring up in this Tubi story.
Tell me about it, Paul.
Well, the fact that Hulu had its head screwed on absolutely perfectly when it was launched. It knew what it for years. It knew what it was. It was the absolute correct, not antidote, but answer to Netflix. I was really quite amazed when all these, initially it was an NBC project, and Fox came in on it, and it was the place where the TV station could, dump their reruns with a few extra little, bits and pieces, and people loved it. It was exactly the right thing. And then, it's actually prior to Disney getting hold of it, though I don't know whether they had any influence on it, but they just kind of like screwed up the formula.
Totally.
And now Tubi has, is going to be overtaking Hulu.
Yeah.
And Disney is going, like, now that Hulu and Disney Plus is merging, it's going to be the worst of both worlds.
It's just basically Disney Plus 2.0. Right.
Yeah.
And you said exactly what I've been saying before is like Hulu kind of replaced the digital recorder, right?
Yeah. It was just a brilliant, popular, inexpensive, perfect, opposite to what Netflix was.
It had 90% of the shows the day after they were on TV.
Yep.
And that way you didn't have to worry about missing anything.
Yep.
If I can point this out, Hulu did start, and you're totally right, Tom, by the way. Hulu did start as a free with ads streamer. And then when they added in Hulu Plus, and they spelled out the plus because that's how old school this is. They weren't. That was before adding in the.
We were the first ones with a plus.
That was when you could get more of the shows that were dropping the next day. I think Hulu might have actually been to blame for the 2008 writer's strike in some way, because there were people like BJ Novak, for instance, that would be on the picket lines talking about how nobody was watching The Office on broadcast. Whenever anyone told him out in Hollywood that they were watching The Office, they were saying that they were watching it on digital. And obviously Netflix did have The Office at some point, but for a good deal of this, Hulu, obviously with Comcast and NBC together, they were putting their shows on this streaming service. It was a great response to Netflix, because Netflix was a repository for anything that was just kind of sitting there, and Hulu was for active shows that were currently airing. Netflix did a little bit of current television where they would put the show on the next day, but they've never had a good interface for current television. Hulu has always been about what's on right now. And they also, of course, were one of the few that if you paid for the ad-free model, you were actually giving them less money than you were if you were just doing the slight payment plus ads one. They made more money off of the ads. So this was a fully functioning business model. And of this entire list, Netflix obviously works now. Prime Video, there's an asterisk on that because it's obviously attached to Prime. Hulu is the only one on this list before you get to Tubi, where I see a complete business model here that they can probably have some pride in. They were also the first to, not the first to go to follow Netflix. Sorry, let me restate this. They were not the first to go for those big $100 million prestige shows. Netflix was the one to do that. They were also the first one to just kind of get away from that and say, we're not going to be dropping $100 million on another season of a brand new show like Future Man, for instance. They got away from that before anybody else because they had to have people responsible for it. Hulu, I did my whole master's, like the last half of that was studying Hulu and Fox and Disney. And I have a special affinity for this one because they knew what they were doing. Kevin Mayer, who I think should be the CEO of the Walt Disney Company right now, if Bob Iger was not everything we know him to be right now, he was the one in charge of Hulu after Jason Kilar, who later went to Warner Brothers and created and killed Max at the same time. Kevin Mayer was the guy behind Hulu's success. And of this entire list right here, I have the most confidence that Hulu has the better business model here. I don't know. Well, other than YouTube. They've killed it.
They've killed it, and Disney is just going to kill it further.
Because they don't know what they're doing. Now they're saying Bear is we did a video on That Park Place about this. The Bear was an FX show and was successful. And because Disney wanted to be the top of the streaming originals chart, they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take this show that everyone's talking about. They even talked about it on the earnings call. They know that this is one of their most popular, one of their most critically acclaimed shows. And they said, you know what? We're going to say this is a Hulu show now. And also we're going to dump the entire season on the platform at once. Obviously, so that they could get the numbers up there, so they could say that they had the #1 show in streaming originals for 1 week.
Where does Stars fit in? Because they did Murders in a Building, and they do a bunch of other good shows too. And that's all available on Disney.
Well, there's two services. Stars with a Z is the Lionsgate streaming service, or I say former Lionsgate streaming service that made a deal with Disney. I think probably as part of the Stars channels. And then there's Star Plus, which is Hulu outside of America. And here's the funny thing is Hulu outside of America, Disney did not want to pay all of their business partners for content on Hulu outside of the United States. They wanted all of this dedicated to that. So Star Plus is Hulu outside of the United States. So in the United States, Hulu makes more money than Disney Plus, double what Disney Plus makes in the United States. And outside of the United States, Disney and essentially Hulu content, because it's Star Plus, are combined together, and they make with twice the content, more than twice the content. They make
how's
just
this
as much
for a
as
segue,
just
Jonas?
Disney in the United States.
How's this for a segue? Let's just insert this, and then we'll continue the conversation. This came out 9 hours ago. Stephen Foster, the author here over on moreaboutatvertising.com, U.S. hotshot Mischief launches free streamer Tubi in the United Kingdom. And this is the paragraph that we need to see, folks. Rupert Murdoch's Fox Corporation, yes, that Rupert Murdoch, the guy over Fox News, isn't afraid of taking a punt, and free streamer Tubi is launching in the United Kingdom. And in the agency chair is in the U.S.'s hottest newcomer, former BBDO exec Greg Hahn's creation, a deal with Canada's no fixed address, has rapidly won an enviable list of clients, including some traditional biggies like Kraft. So Tubi now going international beyond what it might have already been. And that has to give Disney some real pause, because it's not just in North America. Yes, North America is Disney's most profitable in terms of a profit margin per consumer market. But if Tubi is going to go after them globally, that's a real problem for Disney, especially given that they don't have the same setup they have in North America with Disney Plus and Hulu.
The other thing that's interesting about Tubi is that it has a very good dedicated independent film component, in that if you know what you're doing, and you can't do it on your own, you have to have an aggregator represent you to get your film on Tubi. But if you can make a film at a reasonable level and have an aggregator that is connected to Tubi, you can actually make a profit on your independent movies by showing them on Tubi.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of wrestling on Tubi, like a lot of old school stuff, like Memphis and like stuff you can't find on Peacock with the WWE Network and whatnot. So wrestling fans love Tubi, so I hear about it all the time.
Jonas, walk us through go ahead, Tom, and then after that, Jonas, I want you to chime in on the cost differentials here. So how much have they spent on Disney Plus and Hulu versus how much is Tubi, which is beating them now? How much did Tubi cost? Go ahead, Tom.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I mean, Andre made the best observation about all these streaming services about a year or two ago.
Yes.
Basically, when he said that Hollywood should have treated them like the new version of home video, and Netflix and Hulu were basically the baseline for that. And, you know, prestige television, and they're starting to learn a little bit. I know I've had the same conversation with Paul, Script Doctor, and others. They were never going to be able to sustain what they were doing on 10, 15, 20 bucks per subscription per person per household. It just never was going to be that good. And I pointed that out early on when Max and Disney Plus and all them dropped, because I said, you're ostensibly having an entire family pay the cost of what would it cost to buy a Blu-ray or a DVD, sometimes less, for one of these streaming services for an entire catalog of stuff. Of course, you're going to lose money at the end of the day, and you're not going to make anything. They're going to have to add ads back into the mix, because that's what made Hulu profitable at the beginning of this. And, you know, they've gotten smart, and they're starting to move all these shows, these prestige shows, back to HBO, back to ABC, back to CBS, back to all these places. Like we've said in the start, this is what it should have been. And Hulu and Netflix and Disney Plus and Max should be the end of the line. That should be 6-7 months after something's released.
Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a good example here is, of course, that Harry Potter is now going to be an HBO show as opposed to a Max show, because I think they've realized now that you cannot just use. Yeah, you can't just make this into a blank check for whatever you want to put on your streaming service and hope that you get to Netflix numbers. I think they've all been disabused of that now. So you get all of these streamers except for Disney, who will say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put this on our premium channels on cable. Well, the thing that I'm seeing here is Disney does not have a premium channel that they can put Disney content on. They can't put the Mandalorian on FX. Well, I think they maybe have done a little bit of Star Wars.
But that's the problem. Is that they've ostensibly replaced the Disney Channel and home video with Disney Plus instead of just being the Disney Channel 2.0 is what Disney Plus should have been. All the content they used to
Disney. because they even say on their financial statements, they max out Disney Channel as a 14 and under channel, and they don't have a premium Disney channel there because that has become the land of like Hannah Montana. I know that's obviously a dated reference, but I defy anyone in this audience to tell me what is the current show on Disney Channel right now, because
I'm pretty sure they stopped adding new content. Disney has been actively destroying its premium cable channels for the last year because they were so all in on Disney Plus. Everything just had to go to Disney Plus. So they're at the point of no return. They've passed the windmill on those.
And I'll tell you this too. So I don't normally watch Disney Channel, and I won't be watching Disney Channel, but it came on during my stay at the Walt Disney World Resorts. Listen, Disney Channel is awful. I mean, it is just awful. The quality is terrible. There's some stupid animated CGI thing that looks like it came out of the reboot era about zombies animated high school thing. It's just awful. Anyway, Paul.
What I was going to say is that you could see at the beginning when Netflix first came on board the dollars in the eyes of the studios and networks, in the sense that, you know, to a large degree, they had to work their ass off to manage even the advertising. Even though the advertising model was lucrative, it required hit shows. It required tending the garden. And initially, you can envision a bunch of executives going, oh my God, if we can get $15 per person and we've got 1 million subscribers, well, I mean, I don't know what the math is, but now you're talking about a recurring revenue model that the networks and studios have never had, like a guaranteed amount of cash every month. That was the brass ring. That's what gave them Woodies. What they didn't realize after they published all the available content that they had in their libraries, or what they chose to add, they went, oh crap, we now have to keep making new stuff to keep the existing people on our system. Oh, okay, I didn't really anticipate that. Oh, that's really hard. Oh, so that was the, my son and I talk about it all the time. People don't factor in the maintenance of the shit they buy. They go, okay, I got this great car. I got 7 years worth of financing. This is going to be fantastic, notwithstanding the massive depreciation. No one should finance a car for 7 years.
Nor the oil, nor the tires, nor the brakes.
You're out of your freaking mind if you finance your car longer than 4 years.
You mean those things don't work like stocks?
No, they don't. Man. Your car does not appreciate.
Here's the thing.
So the point is, they've maxed themselves out, and then we need oil. Oh, we need new tires. Oh, things go wrong with the car. And they have no money for maintenance. And that's what this whole streaming thing is. They bought the car. They go, whoa, look at this. This is fantastic. Oh, we got to add new product to it. Okay.
Right. I can't afford ramen, but look at my car.
Yeah.
Can I talk about the mentality that created this here? Mason Morfitt was one of the many people who came out in support of Bob Iger in the Nelson Peltz proxy fight. And he was supposed to be, he's an activist investor. And what is his activist position? Bob's doing a great job and he should keep doing what he's doing. Very activist, that guy right there. But this is the slide from Mason Morfitt and Value Act talking about how they view Netflix. This is Disney endorsed this and put it up on their website and talked about how great they are. So Walt Disney Company talking about their streaming profits in 2024. All of these companies talking about their streaming profits in 2024, as opposed to Netflix making $10 billion.
They're the underwear gnomes.
Exactly.
So what's this chart mean? That Netflix does not have Pixar, DC, Harry Potter? What this chart says?
Because they're trying to say that there are no tentpole franchises over there on Netflix. I'm sorry, that is
Stranger Things, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, exactly. Cobra Kai, one of the greatest shows of all time.
Never get in the way of logic when you're trying to form a narrative. Never.
Not to mention One Piece
blocking it.
recently, and some. I
Yeah.
mean, they've got tons of them.
Right, and they're over here looking at Netflix as if it's the enemy, as opposed to it's just another delivery platform. So instead of making money selling their content to Netflix, they've said,
Voila.
you know, we need to waste $14 billion to make sure that Netflix doesn't get that money. It's cutting off your nose to spite your face, and then telling everybody, hey, don't I look lovely?
Well, Jonas,
No,
the
they
thing
are
is that-
basically.
Go
I'm
ahead,
just
Tom.
going to say they're basically the underwear gnomes. I made that point for a reason. I've been saying that for a while. They sat there and they looked at Netflix and Hulu and they're like, look at all the money they're making. We need that money. So how do we do this? Okay, we start a streaming service. We don't know. Then we profit.
I don't get it. You see, phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2,
Yep.
phase 3, profit. Oh, I get it. No, you don't, fat.
And that's
Well,
the thing.
It's like I said, it's the recurring revenue that enticed them, not the amount so much,
Right.
but the fact that they got a guaranteed amount of cash every single month. That is completely new to the studios.
Without understanding where it came from, right? That's the
No,
question
no,
mark.
I agree.
Yeah,
but-
see, no. I'm just adding to your point because that's the whole thing. Is they looked at Netflix. They're like, look at all the money they're making, and look at all the money we're giving them. We need some of that money, without thinking that the whole reason that Netflix was making all this money is because basically they were the new VHS, they were the new DVD, they were the new end all be all end all stop where everything went, and everybody had it, right? Like everybody. So at that point, Netflix could barely afford to play these studios, as you were pointing out, a consistent income into their coffers for a lot of films that were not making as much money as they used to be, that used to be saved by home video, was now being saved by Netflix. They didn't stop to think that the reason Netflix was making all this money is because they were paying them. Right? It's so silly. It makes absolutely no sense.
As someone who is running a website business with recurring monthly revenue, I'm telling you, it's wonderful.
The funny thing is, a lot of those franchises that they were listing on that, Netflix now has again, because they're now, all these streaming services are forced to sell these properties back to Netflix for streaming. We're seeing so many of them pop up. I'm pretty sure I've seen some Marvel pop up. I've seen some DC. Like
I'm seeing Spider-Man back on Netflix. I'm going
Avatar.
Okay. Yeah,
Last Airbender.
Well, that's because Sony has never left Netflix, right? Like they were the only ones who sat back and said, you know what? We're going to wait till the dust settles, because they were probably the only ones who saw how this was working, because they were earlier to the block with the streaming services on their PlayStation network and all that. And they shut all that down way before all this stuff popped off. They sold Crackle off. They were done. They were out.
Right.
And instead they made a huge deal with Netflix. And now they're the only ones sitting real pretty right now as far as any profits in Hollywood. Movies like Garfield are going to make them a mint.
So the thing that Pro asked me to talk about here is how much money they've spent on these streaming services, and Crackle is obviously a great example of a disaster. Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee was, I believe, a Crackle original before it went over to Netflix, and now people actually watch it because it's on Netflix. And all of these brands, Disney runs their movie division like it's basically a paid for ad service for all of their merchandising and all of their theme parks. So Disney could be forgiven on some level if they were just making the content and trying to do it at least a net zero, if not a little bit of profit, so they can sell it to other people down the line. But so going through this right here, Netflix runs at a profit right now. They take on debt and they pay on that debt. YouTube obviously runs at a profit. Hulu and Disney Plus, it's really easy to say when you start talking about things like, first of all, the cost of Hulu in all of their startup fees. If Disney had left it alone, it would be just no question at this point profitable. Not a question in my mind whatsoever. Disney Plus, not knowing everything that they've spent on that, they are about $14 billion in the hole just on Disney Plus, not counting the purchases that they've made of anything else to put it on Disney Plus, not counting the brand damage that they've had by putting all this garbage on Disney Plus that is so lackluster and so full of just whatever they think they can get past. They would have had to talk to censors and standards and practices. Instead, they put in fill in the blank here on Disney Plus. They purchased Fox for $70 billion specifically to say that it was for streaming. And they've had losses on some of that since then. Obviously, the Hotstar situation was a complete disaster. They still have a streaming service in India, but they've merged with their biggest competitor, otherwise known as exiting the space in shame. They took a $12 billion loss over there in India on that. Forgive me if I'm just throwing all these figures out here. Hulu right now, they've paid at least $8.61 billion for that last 30% of Hulu. Probably going to be another $4 billion, maybe $5 billion to make up the difference there. It's really hard to say how much money they have wasted trying to make Disney Plus work, because in the end, they're going to take the Disney Plus name and slap it on Hulu and pretend like they've been successful the whole time. So with all of these moves that Bob Iger has made, not counting the loss in the stock price, not counting by market capitalization, the $100 billion they've lost there in market capitalization, it's very easy to say that they have spent at least $100 billion trying to make Disney Plus work. And man, if I could just say this, Disney Plus is just total garbage. It is the worst streaming service out there, and it happens to have Disney's catalog content on it. And they lucked out by getting Bluey on there, which accounts for probably 1/3 of all streaming on that platform. The other third being this albatross around their neck of these billions of dollars of content that no one watches. So
well, let's put it in perspective, just so people understand. Bluey, which Disney does not own, which is a preschool cartoon dog show, Bluey has higher viewership than Star Wars and Marvel combined right now. So there you go. But Jonas, it is time to hit those super chats. Let's bring them on the screen. And folks, the next news story we have regarding Disney World is one that, frankly, I can't even believe we're going to utter the words that you're going to hear. So don't go anywhere. You won't believe this. I promise you, you won't believe what we're going to have to say live about news from Disney World in just a moment. Jonas, bring him up.
Space Ave 2000 for $2 Canadian. Speaking the truest sentiment from the Great White North. Yo.
Hey. Yo to you, Super Dave. And Super Dave, we're so happy that you're out there. We always enjoy seeing you in the audience.
That's right. Albertus Magnus, 44 for $4.99. I find myself watching films from past eras with actors who passed on and can't ruin their movies or insult my intelligence with insipid, mindless propaganda. Well, the good news is that there's a CGI Mark Hamill out there that can't hurt you anymore.
I have to say, yesterday, How the West Was Won was playing on a TV that I walked by, and I looked and went, I missed that.
AWM Trends Entertainment TV for $1.99. Just want to say hello, everyone. Well, hello to you.
Hello, and howdy.
SFX Sabretooth Raptor for $5. Hide the elf. Mexican Iron Man may toss the elf at the TV computer screen as he watches Acolyte finale.
Poor Mexican Iron Man. Double dose of pain.
I don't want to say I'm jealous, but I'm very happy for Paul that he gets to go see Mike. I need to go down there to visit him one of these days.
And something I've heard about Paul's Eggs Benedict. I may have to make a move over there real soon.
Paul keeps it up. I'm going to show up when he's there.
What I got to do? We have the added bonus that Wolverine and Deadpool open while I'm down there. So we're going to hustle over on opening night together to watch it, which I'm looking for. It should be great. I'm going to be screamingly happy.
All right, tell Mike to leave a spot open on the driveway. Here comes Pro.
Yeah. Can you get down there in time?
You never know.
Sutton Creek Productions for $2 Canadian. My local theater is finally going to reopen after all this time. I'm hoping that it's not shut down for the reasons that most theaters shut down, because that's taken their sweet time to open that back up.
Well, and some theaters have been purchased by new management, new franchises, that sort of thing. And so that's why some are reopening.
Possibly.
But a lot of local theaters closed and their facilities are being purchased up now by
at bargain prices.
Bargain prices.
Hey, Tom, is National Amusements the level at which Skydance is purchasing here? So they would get a bunch of theaters?
I don't know if that's the one that has to do with it, or if it was. So I know AMC was expanding a bit because wasn't it them who bought out Alamo Drafthouse? Or is it who was it who did? But yeah, you're right. There's been a bunch of purchases and acquisitions in the last few months. Maybe if you have like a former AMC or something like that, it might have been bought out, or they might be firing them back up. Who knows? Because actually, there was a story that just come out the other day that theater going is back up to the point it was pre-COVID.
Nice.
And I had predicted it wasn't going to take that long. It kind of.
I think it depends on the movies, but
yeah, that's a big part of it. But
when did they say it would reach that level, though, Tom? Because I've been saying 2026.
That was I think the initial. I think it was 2026 or even later that they were saying. And I said, no, it's only going to take like 2-3 years or a couple of good movies, and that's kind of what happened. But to one of the points you guys brought up earlier, I just wanted to jump in on. Because, like, with the way they're treating their content on Disney Plus, I brought this up before, when you put one of their old prestigious films, the Vault films, all on Disney Plus, they aren't worth anything anymore. Right. Look what happened this last weekend. One of their biggest films of all time, The Lion King, was released to theaters with zero fanfare and barely mustered up $1 million. The last few re-releases of The Lion King were huge. It's one of Disney's most profitable films of all time.
Right. Obviously, and they're going to have a Lion King release at the end of this year. And you have to wonder if the fact that it's been out of the vault, that you can get it anywhere. You can literally get this anywhere.
It's been out forever, yeah.
Right. I don't think they know what they have on their hands. I don't think Bob Iger cares. I think the only thing he cares about is ABC News. I ranted about that. Well, rant incoming on the That Park Place channel about the only part of Disney that Bob Iger cares about.
You'd think a weatherman could see a storm coming, but he clearly didn't. So,
well, he's in the shower, so he can't tell when it rains. Tennille89 for $10. How are we going to top last week? Last week's post-Acolyte stream was like we'd seen aliens, like frighteningly stupid, shouldn't be capable of space flight. Aliens.
I love the captain in Tennille.
I wish that I had the clip, and I will get this. The clip where we finally, Lauren is not watching the Acolyte. So Lauren, people have said, well, why is he on the panel if he's not watching? Like, what does he have to contribute? It's like, well, Lauren is here because he represents the mainstream audience. Like 90% of the people out there have not watched it. They're not going to watch it. We see it in the viewership. It's not even going to chart on Nielsen the second half of the season. But we showed Lauren, finally, we got a clip, and we showed him all of those witches dying in unison. And he just burst out in laughter. And Lauren's not that kind of a guy. And we all just joined him, just laughing. So I don't know what's coming out tonight, but we're going to have a good time. And your cheeks might hurt. Those cheeks, not those, Paul. Those cheeks. Those cheeks.
Upset stomach? Anyways. SFX Sabretooth Raptor for $5. Clue is one of my best mystery cinematic experience. Good story, and you can decide which ending you like best. This movie blew my mind when I watched it as a kid, because I thought, why are they doing a movie on a board game? Why does it have all these grown-up actors that are actually really funny in it? And then I watched it on repeat until I wore out the tape. That movie is awesome.
Fantastic.
All right.
Ken Reihart. With Tim Curry, the one with Tim Curry?
Yes. Tim Curry, Madeline Kahn, Christopher Lloyd, Martin
That
Mull.
was very funny.
Oh, yeah. And also broke my brain a little bit that Mr. Body was played by Lee Ving. Ken Reihard, member for 9. Newhart awakens in the shower with Patrick Duffy.
I did love those fake names. Whenever we had a substitute teacher, we would pull that trick in the class. We would, GI Love Money. And I would always write Rimsky, cut your cock off.
Wear clothes. Oop, almost forgot that one.
And the teacher would be reading through this. Rimsky, cut your cock off is here.
Paul, I'm going to remind you of our content rating here.
It's a Russian name.
It's a Russian name, Jonas. How dare you strike down on poor Bart?
Are you racist towards Russian names? That's a legitimate name.
I can't be. Anyways, you know
there are Jewish names like Shitman and Slutsky. Are you going to be? I mean, that's just a reality.
This is what I.
Jonas has never hearkened unto Slutsky's Deli. I can promise you that.
Beko Sith for $5. Gentlemen, I would like to say on behalf of the Council of Metal, Jack Black is excommunicado.
Yeah, that's
Thank you for your
really
service,
sad.
So I'm gonna
PS Mark H sucks. I don't know who Mark H is.
Mark?
Who am I missing?
Mark
Hamill.
Mark Hamill. Never underestimate the power of Hollywood elites saving their own skins and throwing their friends under the bus.
Listen, Jack Black seems to have canceled Tenacious D.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's breaking basically.
So it may be the biggest video I've ever done. I'm looking at it right now. The metrics on how it's exploding. So, and part of what I say in the video is, listen, we got to have some grace. If we're going to get back to some semblance of civility, we got to give the best to some people who deserve it. And Jack Black, if he's, 2 days later, he's canceled the tour. He says no new stuff coming from Tenacious D for the foreseeable future. It sounds to me like Tenacious D is over. And you got to say, if that's what he did, if you're wanting an apology, there's nothing more substantive than that kind of an apology. That's that's huge.
They did post apologies actually.
Yeah, they
what's that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is breaking news. Going with that, they both posted apologies. If
you're
100% right, this is Kyle Gass. Yeah, this is Kyle Gass screwing it up for everybody. I mean, and he's not even the guy that has anything to back himself up with. Let's be real here. He's not the talent. He's just the guy that got lucky.
Craziest thing I've ever. I mean, my gosh, can you imagine if it was Obama? And I'm not trying to say this in order to incite anything. What I'm saying is the same response you would have if it was Obama is the same response you should have if it's Trump, is the same response you should have if it's the British Prime Minister, the Australian Prime Minister. You get the idea. Like, no to murder. And when people are dead and we're having funerals, no to laughing about that. All right, so let's read this. Jonas, read it for us, please.
This is Kyle Gass's apology. Do you want Jack Black's first for context here?
No, that's okay. Jack Black essentially said no more Tenacious D for the foreseeable future. Tour's over. We're leaving Australia before they deport us.
Right. The line
Can
I
you imagine how
improvised
much this just cost, Jack?
Oh my! Gosh. I mean, he's one of the few bankable stars in Hollywood right now. I mean,
I would have loved
so short. Let's read it and then we'll do commentary on it. Sorry, that's my fault. The line I improvised on stage Sunday night in Sydney was highly inappropriate, dangerous, and a terrible mistake. I don't condone violence of any kind in any form against anyone. What happened was a tragedy, and I'm incredibly sorry for my severe lack of judgment. I profoundly apologize to those I've let down and truly regret any pain I've caused. There you go.
I would have loved to have been like backstage for the conversation between the two of them, like Jack Black being like, listen, man, one of us is Kung Fu Panda, one of us is Bowser, one of us has a lot more to lose here for you saying things like this. And I mean, I don't know. Do you guys believe that this was improv? Do you believe Jack Black had no idea that was coming, or
the way he reacted?
I don't think he would have done it.
Yeah,
I can pretty much tell you what that was like. It was like, God, Kyle, you just screwed this up for everybody. That's pretty much what it went.
Here's what I would recommend for Mr. Gass. I think the appropriate way for him to handle this, because Jack Black came out and said, I ended the tour. I ended the Tenacious D stuff. Like, he came out and took first person. And he's not the guy who said this. So my recommendation for Mr. Gass is, if you want to find a way out of this situation you've put yourself in, which is 1,000 times worse than what happened to Mr. Richards, who played Kramer. Is it Michael Richards, his name, I believe?
Yes, Michael Richards.
Michael Richards. He, this is awful what was said on stage, to the point they're being threatened with deportation. What he should do, in my estimation, is come out and say, to the family whose husband was murdered and who I made a joke about this situation, I'm paying for the funeral and I will pay for, scholarships for your kids. I am so ashamed of what I've done. That's the way you handle this. Maybe not.
Kyle ain't
maybe
got
not.
that kind of money. No, because
that's
all he's got.
You got to do something.
Well, I'll also say the Britney Spears "Hit Me Baby One More Time" cover that they did for Kung Fu Panda 4 was technically Tenacious D.
He's lucky. That's what I'm saying.
He's very lucky.
Because I've got all their movies, I've got all their CDs. I was so pissed yesterday, and that's what made me post my Gateway Nerd tweet. I don't know if you guys saw that. I said, You know, I'm sick of being called a gatekeeper when we were always gateway nerds, really.
Right.
We were the guys that told our friends about Jack Black. We were the guys that introduced you to Tenacious D and Kevin Smith and Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez and all these oddballs, right? We were the ones. We were gateway nerds, Star Trek, Star Wars. That was us. Most of it was Paul, but it was us.
So there's something D-Bud has sent me this, and it's a really good theory. I'm going to say it's more than a theory. It makes a lot of sense here.
More than a theory. More than a theory.
After Jack Black, this from at Rob Province. Let me explain to people who've never worked a concert venue before. After Jack Black and Tenacious D celebrated all of that, they got about 10,000 calls and texts from all the concert venues they booked, canceling reservations. Places like this have to cover any, have to have insurance that covers any bad events that might happen at a concert. And so the price of that essentially would go to cover that. It would be raised if something incredibly inflammatory happened like this. Obviously, this could be tied to what happened on July 13th. I don't know the best way to refer to all of this on a YouTube channel right now. Essentially saying that the venues themselves, it would raise the prices for the venues to have them there. And so this concert series probably would have been canceled, whether they canceled it or not. Now, that being said, Jack Black coming out and saying, no, this is we're putting this all on hold. It's the right move for him to say that. And whether or not this is popular with our audience or not, I'm going to say we have to have a path to redemption when people make mistakes.
Yes.
Otherwise
we're the cancel crew.
Right. Otherwise, we're creating another system out there,
At least they've come out and apologized. There's a lot of other people who haven't yet.
Right. If there's no path to apologize, then if we cannot have a system where people can't say, I'm sorry, obviously there are some things that are way past the line. This guy forgot he wasn't in Los Angeles at a quiet venue and said the thing that California people might be chuckling and laughing at. He might not have even meant it in the spirit that he said it. It was completely inappropriate for him to say that within 3 days of what just happened. And he needs to say an apology. He did say an apology. I'm not worried about Kyle Gass right now. It'll take him a long time to recover from this if he genuinely wants to recover from it. Jack Black is a global brand. He makes movie studios billions of dollars, and they all want to see him recover so that they can continue to make billions of dollars when little kids see Jack Black is in this movie. So it is in everyone's best interest at this point for Jack Black to say, dude, I am not all about that. I also wonder if a few weeks ago, when he endorsed Joe Biden right before the presidential debate, and we all know how that debate turned out, if all of his people got a whiff of what it is like for Jack Black to make an unpopular political move. And so it laid the ground for him to make this very quick apology.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing that stinks to the high heavens in all of this is that Mark Hamill, he went to the White House. He did a thing at the podium with KJP and all of that. This is before the debate and all of that. Mark Hamill, if he met with Joe Biden, with President Biden, he had to have known something's not right. I'm not trying to be political. I'm just saying we have watched individuals have some health concerns, and he had to have known, hey, something's not right. And he went out there and did his Mark Hamill thing. Man's sinister. And, Kyle Gass and Mark Hamill, they're a different category to me than Jack Black. Jack Black has this long pause after that is said, and then goes, thank you. It's like he does not want to be in this situation.
Oh, the band isn't called Tenacious D. The other guy is called Tenacious D.
No, it's together. It's Kyle Gass and Jack Black are
that is the band name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think that the world is going to miss seeing Lizzo and Jack Black together again. I think that really is the downside to all of this.
Maybe
that's a Mandalorian.
Well, let's not give Jack
if those
a
two
pass.
can't make it in this world.
Let's not give Jack a full pass. He's the same guy who came out and was, going after or talking up Uncle Joey, just like Mark was too. Don't forget that.
We got to give some people the benefit, though.
Trump,
at some
Trump
point.
is talking about up Biden at his events. So there's political rhetoric.
Right.
You've picked your horse, but on the other hand,
Paul, the differentiating thing to me is I get the heated rhetoric. I don't like existential threat talk.
No.
Right, but when it gets to, hey, this guy should be non-existent anymore, that's when I say you've switched into the villain side, and that's beyond politics. So
I completely agree. But you can, I mean, I was alive when Reagan was the Hinckley thing, and there was an awful lot of people who were disappointed at Hinckley's lack of success. I mean, and it's going to happen. But with social media, you've got people crying in cars over it. I mean, it's a different world we're living in, where we've got the streets. Our streets are filled with tens of thousands of people chanting for the death of a certain race of people. I mean, we're living in utter madness.
I have so many comments on that.
But
I'm with you, Paul.
Too many comments though on this.
I'm a Canadian. I try not to get involved in American politics. But you know what happened to Trump? I mean, he's an ex-president, and perhaps formerly the next president. There has to be a respect for life, and you have to deal with these things as you're not a democracy, you're a republic, but you either vote the guy in or vote him out. That's your weapon is your vote. That's your weapon. That's how we keep sanity. And this is how we don't kill each other all off as tribal crazy people. We have to believe in the system.
This is why we fight every day here on this channel to bring into visibility this insanity that is this woke culture, because it's mental anarchy. And this is where it leads when we teach in entertainment horrible things, and when we promote horrible things that condition people to think that it's okay to be the anti-Luke, right? So back in the 70s and the 80s, we believed in the idea that Luke Skywalker is a hero because he sees the good in his dad, despite every reason not to, and he redeems his father. And now we have people who literally are acting out the thought processes of the Emperor Palpatine, and they think that they're on the right side of history, and it's insane.
Yep.
You know, we got to get away from it. But Jonas, we got to get back to super chats. Let's bring them up.
I think you could put this entire event at the foot of woke culture.
I agree. You can't say existential threat over and over again for 10 years.
You can't.
People have grown up in this world hearing that he is that, and then not.
That's what I pointed out. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
that's right. Tom did. You did say it. Yeah.
All right, super chats, guys. We got to end it there. Let's keep going.
All right.
We have to. First of all, we need to say the WDW Pro, very generous member of the channel here, gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. But I just want to say, if we turn this up by a factor of 10, the Wild Man of Yavin gifted 50 WDW Pro memberships. You are the Wild Man.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Wild Man. And here we go, a celebration in your honor.
A blindfolded half-court shot that is now the talk of campus and beyond.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Is that on tape?
Yeah.
You are kidding me.
Wow.
All right. Fantastic. And thank you so much.
And if I can add,
he brings his own celebration to the game, folks. His own celebration. All right, Jonas, bring up 5 more super chats. We've got to get that news out of Disney World, and then, folks, we will get all the super chats, including bonus member chats at the end of the show.
Yep, go to Shogi, member for 2. May was clearly saved by Spider-Man. Everybody.
Wrong May.
Ryan for 499. Acolyte prediction: OSHA or May named Darth.
That is the rumor.
It's a fair rumor, because
the only thing that gives me pause on that is that Palpatine did say, you know, he could save others from not himself, yada yada yada. So,
well,
I don't know.
Let's get real. Let's get real for a moment, Ryan. If either OSHA or May pull their head off and it's been a mask the whole time, and one of them is Spock, I will say,
yeah,
makes as much sense as the rest of the show.
You know, if their heads, if their faces were masks, that would make sense why they only have one facial expression between the two of them.
Yes, it would.
I think it was a mistake to name him Palpatine, because it sounds like a hot breakfast cereal.
with a little bit of gravy on it.
I always thought it sounded like a laxative. When you're not feeling regular, get Palpatine.
Well, then there's
Palpatine.
That fits well with Rey.
Pickle-headed Jedi. What's her name?
Vanestra Rose.
Vanestra.
Yeah.
Yeah, which sounds like a female cream.
Jedi Master nepotism.
I call it Jedi Master Leslie Headland's wife.
That's right.
AWM trends for $4.99. Osha May are on the side of perfectly healthy skin.
He does have nice
good
skin.
One.
I mean, she is a pretty girl, whether or not she defines herself as one.
Well, no, because Osha May is the name of a skincare product.
Oh, that's right.
Which is where she got the names from, because she's a hack.
Wow.
Jim Jam for $4.99. Guys, is it Kill Bill and Frozen just because they're sisters and there's action scenes with awkward dialogue? I'm confused. Is that all it takes? Yes, it is. Sounds like a Hollywood pitch that they just went ahead.
It's Frozen because it involves somebody's wife. Wasn't a bitter thing to say. I'm sorry.
Well, that's frigid. That's frigid.
Oh, sorry.
Tennille89 for $2. Discontent/dismayed Tom faces are the best faces.
Yes.
I do love
that. Does make good faces.
All right, that was 5, Pro. It just took us a little longer because we all like to
I was
riffing. Is good.
Quick programming reminder, folks. YouTube did not count for some reason all of those many watch hours that you gave us for Vacation Radio. If you could be so kind to subscribe to Vacation Radio at Vacation Radio here on YouTube and enjoy the music in the background during your day, it'd be a huge help to us. We've got to basically start all over, get to those 4,000 watch hours. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't promote it, and we would like for them to do so. It's just a fun thing to do as we get ready, hopefully in the future, to release animated shorts and all of that. Now, let's get ready to roll with a story that is unbelievable. All right, here we go, folks. This one is out of thatparkplace.com, and it is by one Marvin Movie Monster. Here it is. Disney openly seeks, and we'll be careful here, given the platform, a wide variety of actors for the new Little Mermaid show coming to Walt Disney World. Now, I
just got to say before you get into this, you guys are so diverse, you actually have puppet representation writing for you.
That's
I
right,
am 100% a DEI hire for that park place.
Yes. I'll just say this: after the Evil Queen situation, this is not a surprise, but there is a surprise hiding inside this story. Don't go anywhere. You won't believe this. Disney's Hollywood Studios has been known as a place where the movies come to life. It does this through a series of attractions and shows focused on movies and television. This includes everything from Disney classics to Star Wars, The Muppets, and even The Twilight Zone. Here is concept art of what the Little Mermaid show will look like when it comes out. One such show was Voyage of the Little Mermaid, which has been one of the anchors of Disney's Hollywood Studios Animation Courtyard, which is now bereft of anything to do, since it first opened in January 1992. By the way, if you go to the Animation Courtyard now, you can have fun things like stand on concrete and get sunburned. That's the fun of it. Or hidden restrooms that no one knows about. Or the exit of one man's journey. That's the fun you can have. But when the Disney parks reopened after the COVID pandemic, Voyage of the Little Mermaid remained closed, but it's going to be reopening. Here is where the story gets into insanity levels. The roles of Ariel and Prince Eric have been open to include men and women of every variety. While this wouldn't be the first time Disney has employed such individuals, it is the first time the company is openly advertising it. Casting notes for Ariel. Here's the insanity we promised you. Casting notes for Ariel call for an 18 to 30 years old white woman or woman of another variety, 5'2" to 5'6", a spirited, fun-loving, yet curious mermaid princess who longs to be part of the human world, lyrical pop soprano with belt to sea. Eric has a similar casting notice, seeking 18 to 30 years old, white man, or apparently if you are this variety of man, you don't have to be white. You could be anything. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. 5'10" to 6 foot tall, Charismatic and fearless, Prince Eric is a true romantic who never gives up on his heart's desire non-singing role. Here's the insanity. We ready? Folks, Ariel from The Little Mermaid, that this is supposed to depict, is a 16-year-old girl. The Walt Disney World Resort is now seeking up to 30-year-old biological men to play a 16-year-old girl. So if you are a 30-year-old biological man with an Adam's apple and broad shoulders and all of that, Disney would like to have you play a 16-year-old girl in their parks. Marvin, you're the author. I'll let you take it away. I just find this bizarre. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Am I?
No, I think that I think you hit the nail on the head with your assessment here. It is a little disturbing to imagine a 16-year-old girl being played by a 30-year-old biological male. But I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I was saying to Jonas, I think by this time next year, you're going to have Princess Fairy Tale Hall. You'll have, biological men playing the princesses that you can meet and greet. I think that this is just where we're going. And I think the Evil Queen was just kind of the start of it. That snowball is rolling downhill and there is no stopping it now.
And that's a big old snowball with a lot of makeup on it.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I may be too old, but all I have to say is this. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? I have an extra appendage. I mean,
reminds me of a line from
just
Mad
what you're
About
looking
You,
for.
where
My
Paul
Dingle
Reiser
Hopper.
says, anytime somebody mentions I'm a producer, I wake up the next morning with 16 minutes of Bally High on my voicemail. Oh, beautiful. This is,
you know what's funny? I remember watching Teacher's Pet with Clark Gable and a young Doris Day. And I thought, wow, that's creepy. And this is back when I was young. And I went, that's quite the span of ages in that. I love Teacher's Pet. It's actually one of my favorite movies.
What do you think of a girl? Who has...
so
I can do this. Trust me.
Now they're foisting this on us.
An Adam's apple.
Maybe Tom could play Ariel.
The girl who has everything is definitely takes on new
Oh
meanings.
no! Oh no!
Gizmo and gadgets aplenty. Who's it's and what's it's galore.
Ah, no!
Oh,
You want
Wanna see a
Thingamabob?
thingamabob?
I got two.
I have
Easy,
to mute.
Up where they walk.
But that's where we are, guys. That's Disney World today. And listen, I don't want to be mean to anybody. I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable or disenfranchised. And there have been roles in Hollywood and in theater for as long as the world has had drama. I said it that way for you, Paul.
Thank you.
As long as that's existed,
Drama.
as long as it's existed, there have been men playing women and women playing men. Mulan is running right alongside that idea, but I find it strange that we live in a world where we're actively trying to find a 30-year-old man, a biological male, to play a 16-year-old girl in front of 5-year-old kids. That just strikes me as odd. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well,
Maybe
now,
I don't
part of me-
understand, but maybe
Part of
I'm
me
not.
thinks that maybe they're opening it up to those actors just as like for optics, but they're not actually going to cast. They'll cast a biological female in the role still. I think. I don't know.
Well, you would think that with the Evil Queen when she's interacting with people and has to have a voice, and then it comes out and says, "Hey, I'm the Evil Queen. Maybe you should move right along. I'm evil and such."
You want an apple?
I'll give
I
you
got
this
an
Adam's apple.
Picturing Luca Brasi coming up asking, you think that's fair?
Sleepy sleeps with the fishes.
They call him Flounder for a reason.
Well, you think I'm a dope like Dopey?
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. Well, that is the insanity that we see at Disney World, folks. Let's hit another story, though, that's been making the rounds with Disney. And, of course, we're not ignorant of it. It's a big deal. We'll cover it right now, folks. It is more to do with the hack Not the kind of hack that Mark Hamill is, but a different kind of hack. And this is out of CNN. Hacker group claims it leaked internal Disney Slack messages over artificial intelligence concerns. Folks, I may have a different take than you're anticipating on this story, so hang tight. We'll see if I'm wrong. It says an activist hacking group claimed it leaked thousands of Disney's internal messaging channels, which included information about unreleased projects, raw images, computer codes, and some logins. Nil Bulge. I promise, folks, we didn't make it up. We're not trying to make a joke on the segue here.
Yep.
The hacktivist group
claimed it's Rimsky again.
That's right. Claimed responsibility for the breach and said they leaked a gigantic, roughly 1.2 terabytes of information from Disney's Slack, a communication software. In an email on Monday to CNN, the group claimed it gained access through a man with Slack access who had cookies. Not those kind of cookies. The email also claimed the group was based out of Russia. The user, finally they found the Russians. Finally, Disney, you've done it now. Yes, we have been trying to take down Last Jedi for the last 7 years. We finally get Mouse. The user was aware we had them. He tried to kick us out once, but let us walk right back in before the second time. The email said, CNN could not independently verify the claims. Well, why the heck are we reading this? I don't know. We'll keep going. In a statement Monday, Disney said it is investigating this matter. Disney's entertainment monolith stretches across a vast range of divisions and companies. For those of you who don't understand what Disney is, CNN wants you to understand. It says here, though, this is where we get into some new territory. Disney was our target. And why were they our target? Well, due to how it handles artist contracts, its approach to artificial intelligence, and its pretty blatant disregard for the consumer, the hacking group said over email. That is Nil Bulge. So here's going to be my response to that. Bullhunkus. Absolute bullhunkus, justification for stealing a company's assets. And that's a nonsense reason. It's utter stupidity. It's anarchic. I don't know what the approach to AI is it's talking about here. I don't know why that would have any impact on whether or not you should steal from them. I don't know what artist has made the request of you to steal vast sums of Disney's content and use it for your own purposes. And in terms of the consumer, if the consumer continues to consume Disney stuff when they should not, it's the consumer's fault. It's not your role to come in and steal vast amounts of content from the company. I condemn hacking the Walt Disney Company. We're not using any of this. If it hits the mainstream media, we'll cover it. But I think it's unethical in just about every way possible. And these people, if they can be arrested for any kind of criminal activity, they probably should be, because it's a huge breach. Again, we'll cover the stuff if it lands, and we've got some stuff to cover in the next story. But stealing from a company is no bueno. Any other thoughts from panelists on this one, the giant hack out of Disney?
Have we got any kind of idea of just what exactly they've hacked out of Slack and what value it might have?
So one of the stories that we're following is that allegedly the roadmap for Disney's collaboration with Fortnite is included in this hack. So that would be quite damaging to Disney. Not sure exactly how damaging, but quite.
Just bringing information out earlier than they want.
Wasn't there Slack threads also hacked in this? And that was part of the things we were seeing in that other, wasn't that like isn't that basically like a communication board for them or something like that?
Yeah. Slack is
internal
popular,
or whatever.
Yeah. Lots of people use Slack. NASA uses Slack.
So we might get some fun stuff out of there, but it's going to take a lot of combing because this is like 1.5 terabytes worth of stuff.
Well, I don't know whether we're going to find the same kind of fun stuff as the
Sony hack, probably.
Sony hack.
Yeah. Although that had a lot of emails and stuff. That was the beauty of that.
Well, the thing with Slack is that it's an internal messaging board, and people post personal messages to each other. So there are companies that have complained about the fact that people have put together conspiracy groups within Slack and have told them to, no, you can't do that anymore. You've got to run by the rules of the company on how we use Slack.
Well, so that's why I brought that up, because I think that might be the only thing that actually.
Yeah, there could be gossip between people internally about how much they hate somebody else. That could
that's pretty much what we got out of Sony, right?
Yeah.
Was like Amy Pascal basically bad mouthing a bunch of people, and it that was the juicier stuff.
Right. That's the fascinating thing is you always have to remember you never put in writing something that you wouldn't want showing up in court one day.
Now, is Lucasfilm included in this at all? Because like, are they going to find things about Gina Carano in here?
That's a good
potentially.
Potentially,
and even if this is inadmissible in court, it can cause someone to say, "Well, we want all of your records related to this," and be very specific about that.
You know what it does, though, Jonas? It reminds me of that little thing that's in all those John Grisham movies where, a lawyer will get away with asking a question or saying a question a certain way, even though they know they're going to be objected. It doesn't matter at that point. You can tell the jury not to remember that or strike that, but they're not going to. They heard it. They saw it, right? Like, that's the whole point here at this point. The same thing with Gina. Like, a lot of this is not so much, I don't think she really even is anticipating winning so much as just getting the truth out there. Once the public sees it, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day what the court decisions are, or if there are any court decisions on any of this stuff as far as that goes. I mean, she could settle as far as we know yet. We don't know. But
the better way for us to get this information out too, Tom, is the Gina Carano case. So
exactly. I mean, but if there's internal stuff going back and forth, yeah.
But I mean, if they're trying to orchestrate, we must have a delay. I apologize. Go ahead, Tom.
Sorry. I was just saying, if they're trying to orchestrate, if you could see if they're trying to orchestrate her being canceled, for instance.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing I'll add, of course, is James O'Keefe is making videos now because he has been granted access. Now, his narrative is that he was given access from someone who calls himself a whistleblower. As opposed to this, which appears that they got in maybe even surreptitiously from a person who maybe did not mean to give them access, even though they're naming that person, which I think, why would you do that to the person who gave you this information in the first place? But, it's their prerogative. Nice hacker group. Please leave us alone.
And walk us through what that has done with James O'Keefe. Do we have anything out of that yet, Jonas?
So far, what we have is the hashtag Disney Pride internal Slack group, in which the people from the company are posting all of the things related to Pride and promoting Pride within the company. For those of you who are not aware about corporate culture, people will often brag about their events or post about their events internally, the same way you would see on LinkedIn, where they want to say, "I'm so proud of the people that worked on this," so they can mention that they worked on it themselves. Things like that. And what that has given James O'Keefe access to is Disney official Pride maps that are pointing at events that, when you look at what's going on at those events, we all have seen the coverage of what is going on at these parades nationally, and the fact that Disney is attaching their name to these events, or Disney will sponsor these events with their quote unquote "We Are the Magic" campaigns. Generally speaking, you don't see the dudes on bicycles right next to that sign, but they're at the same parade. So this puts Disney in an awkward position, or maybe it's not as awkward as they would like it to be. So, Pro, I really don't know where on that line you want me to cross and where you want me to go here. So,
I think that's sufficient. And folks, we're going to be doing a video very soon here on the channel about the latest O'Keefe stuff. It's not going to be in the show today. We're working to make sure that we get all of our T's crossed, I's dotted, all that sort of stuff. One thing that helps us do that is when we have another great guest of expertise. Folks, please welcome to the stage Mr. Ron Bradley. And Ron, as you come in joining us, I'm just curious, do you want to weigh in on the Little Mermaid situation at Disney's Hollywood Studios, where they are putting out a casting call for 30-year-old biological males to now play 16-year-old Ariel?
Well, first of all, I have to apologize. I was having some GI issues earlier, and I took a big dose of Palpatine laxative. So that kind of
yes, let it flow through you.
It's gentle on your tummy.
Do you long for the days when plumbing was seen as a real virtuous job, and you could find a plumber who would come and help you at any hour of the day? Well, let me tell you, friends, Mr. Buttcrack Media Plumbing is here for you, whether you need your rotors rooted or you need your toilet auged with a 6-foot, 12-foot, 20-foot auger. It doesn't matter. We can get a mature sheep out of your pipes. We'll get the juices flowing, I tell you. And don't...
Oh, yeah.
Ron, that's for you, buddy. That's for you. If you need Mr. Buttcrack Media, he'll be there.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds that commercial reminded me of when Rick and Morty was good.
Oh, yeah, it took me to the dark side, that's for sure. Anyhow, no, on the I mean, here's the thing about that. Like, it's so weird to me to even think about somebody. I mean, I don't know, how do you put that? Are you a biological male, 5'5", maybe, I don't know, short, and actually somehow have the sound to do it and the look to do it? The most interesting thing to me about that whole situation is that they actually have an Ariel who is black now. Why do they have to stick to? I mean, they literally in the posting it specifically says a white actress or.
Ron, one of the things that bothers me so much, I said this since they did that with Little Mermaid, was it was going to create a system where little girls were going to say, which mermaid do you like better? Do you like the black mermaid or the white mermaid better? And I hate that idea. I really despise the idea
or
that
the mermaid with a stunning baritone.
Well,
yes,
I don't know whether it's
where we walk,
States, but trans ageism has become a thing here in Canada.
It's a thing.
We've got a 50-year-old university teacher that is competing with 13-year-old girls, a male-bodied individual who is changing with and competing with 13-year-old girls in swim meets.
So
going,
what?
How can that even be legal?
Well, it's trans ageism. He has declared himself a 13-year-old.
I don't give a crap.
I saw this at Disney World. I'm telling you, folks. I was at Disney World this last week, and there was a guest, full-grown woman, later ages of middle age, late 40s, early 50s, and she was wearing a giant newborn onesie and had a bottle.
No.
So she sure did.
Well, this just ate up.
I hate it here.
I just wanted to throw out a quick update on the Tenacious D situation. Kyle Gass has been let go by his talent agency.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Tom, if you've got the link for that, pull that up and we'll get it back up on the screen.
And while we do, folks,
let's hit the super chats. And then for those of you wondering what we've got left on the docket for today, the Splash Mountain transformation was an utter financial disaster. We've got that now written in stone. We'll give that to you. Twisters, the movie, is being heavily criticized for not including climate change in its movie. And we've also got the Mark Hamill situation where he's mocking former President Donald Trump, maybe future President Donald Trump, likely future President Donald Trump, for the bandage covering his ear from the assassination attempt. And we've got an answer for why that bandage is so big that Mark Hamill seems to want to mock. We'll explain it in just a moment. Let's see what we've got from here. This is from Tom and not from CNN. But Tenacious D's Kyle Gass acts by talent agency after inappropriate remarks. So Kyle Gass. Well, we don't normally see it from this angle. Usually, if you say these things about this individual, you face no negative repercussions. So maybe this is finally the moment where people realize it really has gone too far.
I think that they have to make him the one that gets all the punishment so that it just completely takes all the heat off of Jack Black.
I don't think Marvin's wrong. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I do think this is Jack throwing him under the bus at this point.
This guy is not making his agent any money. There's no voiceover work. He's not doing like a shit ton of stuff. He's not doing dinner theater in Iowa. I mean, he's just got this Tenacious D thing. That's it. So
he's the anorexic sacrificial lamb.
And there's that too.
Yeah. You can.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
No, my attention was drawn to the article on the side there about the gunman who was being relentlessly bullied by high school classmates. Are we trying to humanize him now? Are we trying to say, oh, poor him? Like, is that what we?
That's what I was saying yesterday, Marvin, too, and I found it disgusting.
They always do that. Yeah, they always do.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. That's why they keep showing pictures of him when he was in school, when he was a lot younger in school. That's exactly
they should have to go to the funeral and tell those daughters who lost a daddy. They should have to go to the funeral where the father shielded his daughters, they should go to the daughters and have to say, "Well, he was bullied. He was bullied." And then there's a video out of him talking about the size of his,
But as far as Kyle goes here, look, I mean, you guys are right. I think Jack's the only one who could have saved him from any of this stuff. And this to me is telling me Jack's like, dude, you screwed us both.
Oh, right? And he did. And he did.
You really did. I mean, and this is 10 times worse than what Jack did at the Democratic convention thing. I mean, that was bad, but this is worse, right? Because look, I can't believe some of these celebrities, the stuff they've been saying lately, and I'm not going to get too political because I know that's not what you guys do here, but it is. If like you're a celebrity, I mean, read the room. This is not the time to be saying stupid stuff like that.
Well, we're finding out who's really stupid because the people who are incapable of reading the room. So
because they don't live in reality. People like Mark Hamill, like people that are in the Hollywood bubble, they don't live in reality. They don't know what reality is like anymore.
Well, we know what super chats are like.
Sorry,
let's get the super chats up, and if there's more news on Tenacious D, who knows? Maybe they'll be sent to Zimbabwe and not allowed back in the U.S. I doubt it. But John, let's bring up the super chats, and then, folks, we've got big stories on the way.
Yep, SFX Sabretooth Raptor for 5. I would rather watch McCassinver, that's Culture Casino, as MacGyver, Mexican Iron Man as Jack Dalton, Tom Connors as Pete Thornton series than Acolyte. I'd watch that.
Come on, it's so good.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
That info would have been very useful at many times.
I could tell there's a delay too here. Sick Lid for $10. WDW Pro don't need no notifications. No, it's not you, Tom. It was Pro.
Let's do it live.
We'll do it live. Bill O'Reilly voice. Oh man, I've quoted that so many times in context where people have no idea. Love that one. Packing Protons for $5. Thanks to commentators.
Just open up your wallet, man. Take it easy.
Oh, Packing Protons is a huge supporter around here.
He is a great supporter.
He's awesome.
Yeah. And you guys, Packing Protons does have a channel. Speaking of which, you guys should go check that out. And I believe he might have started a gaming channel as well. Thanks to commentators like Mark Hamill, I'm at a point where even if it's good Star Wars, I just don't feel like watching it anymore. Time to move on.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just going to say, I wish Mark Hamill had made his comments from in a car.
I'm in a car. I'm screaming into a microphone on a car.
That's right.
Get off my lawn.
You're not treating my my president very nicely.
Hey, Marvin, could we get a Joker impression of Mark Hamill saying, "Please don't treat me like Kyle Gass"?
Please don't treat me like Kyle Gass.
That's pretty good.
Wow, somebody who's as good as me. Yeah. Wow.
That's impressive. Run for your money.
Wait a minute. Dueling Jokers. What is going on? I didn't know it was
Batman. Did you guys see that video that's going around? That's the last thing that oh god, it just Conroy voiced, with Joker and him dying.
No.
Oh, it's like the Earth is ending, and he's like, and Joker's like, well, you never thought that it would go out like this, did you, Batsy? Or something like that. And Batman's like, oh, I can go out like Batman. And he punches him, and then the whole world just like evaporates. It's kind of neat. But I guess it was one of the last things he got to voice or something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if it's part of an upcoming game or what it is, but yeah.
I saw that it was a part of a Crisis on Infinite Earths thing. So
is that what it is? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to look up the rest of it because man, Conroy was a legend.
Yeah, I think there's a third part to it coming out, and I think that was what's going to be his actual last thing. It's not the Justice League Squad game.
Oh my goodness!
Okay, it's the third Crisis movie they're saying in the.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of which, that game plays today has a video on Justice League. I'm not going to say the full title of the game here, but they're basically giving it away on Amazon Prime today because they're not.
Yeah, that's money off of it. That's me and Culture Casino doing that video.
Mm-hmm. John JID 999 for $199. There's so much old school wrestling on Tubi.
Not wrong.
That's I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Hey, listen, old school wrestling is great especially if you don't like new school wrestling, because if you haven't seen it, it's new to you.
Well,
it's middle school wrestling that's sweaty.
My Hungarian imported mother, one of the things that she ended up loving up here in Canada was wrestling. But this is back in the day. I don't know if you know these characters in the States, but we had Sweet Daddy Siki. We had Ripper Billy Watson. We had the Sheik. We had, oh my God, all these great characters out, wrestling out of Hamilton, Ontario. And they were all fat men.
Of course, they were out of shape in shape guys.
Yes, they were. Yes, I mean they were in shape, but they were out of shape. And there was always the
Fred Mertz.
Yeah, the Sheik always had the hidden implement, like always had the, oh my God, he's pulling out the hidden, he's got a shiv or something like that.
My favorite is now I'm finding out that so many of like the Native American wrestlers that I used to like Tatanka or Wahoo McDaniel, they were all Italian.
Yes.
I found out Wahoo McDaniel was Italian like a year ago, and I was like, what?
It's a lot of shaving that took place. A lot of shaving.
I think the Sheik was Italian up here in
I'm sure.
Oh, and then there was
maybe not
George.
Because his I think his nephew is Sabu, and I believe he's actually
and we had Gorgeous George, who
of course
kind of feigned sort of homosexuality, but he had the fabulous blonde hair and a bouffant. He's had a gold cape. I mean, and you knew who they were, and you booed the ones you wanted to boo, and it was such a great time for wrestler. Very much like the lucha wrestlers that still exist now, right?
Lucha wrestling is so fascinating. I know we're getting completely off track here.
Sorry.
It is just there's so many rules. There's so many rules and like traditions around it. That's all I'll say. I'll talk about it on Toonie Talk Wrestling tonight. How about that?
That's a plug, folks. That's how you do it right there.
Canadian wrestling. We need to talk about the.
You need to make a channel, Paul. Get on it. Let's go.
Yeah, Canadian wrestling channel.
Do something with your life.
You should go on Tooneytown Wrestling sometime.
Well, the problem with Canadian wrestling is it takes twice as long as every other wrestling because they say sorry after every hit.
That's great drama. Great drama.
I'm just going to go tombstone on you there for a second. Just
sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry
if I hurt you there.
Sorry.
Where'd you pull that hockey stick out from?
Packing
look
protons.
over there. Sorry.
Packing protons for $10. Also, I would love it if people just stop bringing up Star Wars. I don't hate watch it. Don't hate review it. Just ignore it. I think that would be worse for Disney.
How am I going to make a living? Trying to fill the channel here, packing protons.
So
living.
I think if this were a franchise that had never been big, there's no story. What we have to cover is how far they took this thing down from where it was. There has to be a cost association analysis. And I think that's the appropriate way. And if we're going to cover it, we're going to laugh at it because there's no sense being mad.
And it's the point is that there's an awful lot of people who are now online enjoying YouTubers making fun of Disney. That's not our fault. The solution to it is simple. Make good stuff, Disney, and we disappear. Like, don't blame us for having fun with the cruddy stuff you're making.
Mm-hmm.
And
here's
all
a funny
to
thing,
Jonas,
Paul.
I'm watching what I'm saying here.
Here's a funny thing, Paul, and you tell me if I'm wrong. I think people believe that we pick the news, and I think that's incorrect.
Right.
I believe that we are like thermostats, at least in terms of what should be in our purview. And then the analysis that we provide differentiates, the channels in the different hierarchies of where they stand with people and the flavors and all that. But the news of the day is the news of the day. We don't pick it. Like the Tenacious D thing. I didn't wake up this morning and say, we're going to do another Tenacious D story.
Right.
No. It was presented to me. This is what you should cover. And the better you are as a thermostat to understanding what's going on in the world, that will determine how well you do with people choosing to watch your video. And then your analysis is the layer on top of it.
And the other thing that happens, because I was in the middle of it with CBC, is that Disney is now worried about Disney. And to a large degree, people don't really care because you are what you make. And when I was at the CBC and things were declining in TV in general, and it was like it's worse now. I mean, 1.3, you know, the CBC attracts only 1.3% of Canadians. I mean, it's ridiculous, but not quite as bad back then. But everyone was fretting about the drop in viewership. And the thing is, everyone there was worried about making over the brand and how we would be seen to people, and you know what kind of demographics and blah blah blah. And I just kept saying, make good shows. People do not care about the container. You are like NBC, CBS. Whenever they were in their doldrums, it was because they were making shows nobody wanted to see. And then when NBC, which was at the bottom of the list at one point, suddenly got Must View Television Thursday with Cheers and all those fantastic shows, that's what turned NBC around, was good shows. So it's the same with Disney. Make stuff that people want to watch, and then everything's fine. And then, you know, actually, to tell you the truth, none of us want to hate watch anything. We want to celebrate and want to watch good things. We actually do.
But if you take it away from us, we're happy to be Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. I love that. Now,
we're going to find a way to entertain ourselves one way or another. Yeah. Sorry, Jonas.
Correct.
No, we have to pull this up here because somebody dropped $50 super chat plus a follow-up raising the bar here. AWM Trends Entertainment for $50. I keep seeing people complaining about how much money was spent on Tiana's, even though it doesn't work. So clearly they didn't spend enough. And Lincoln overpaying cast members more. Why is no one talking about the studio budget? $50K on catering, and for $10 more. One day food on filming terrible show or movie equals 1 year's salary for a cast member.
Yep.
Well, and they put certain species of lobster on the threatened list. So, you know, there's that too. No, and listen, I'll show you where we're going. Well, maybe I won't. Here we go. I'll show you where we're going right after this. We're going to talk about this exact same thing. So let's bring the super chat up. I want to talk about it. But this is where we're going. We'll give you a more in-depth look into just how much they wasted on the Splash Mountain transformation. And it's worse than this. It's way worse than this. We'll talk about it in just a minute. But Paul, what are your thoughts as someone who's been around the production of films, TV shows and all of that? What do you make of the idea of they're spending $50,000 on catering a day? What do you make of the money? Almost $200 million. I bet it's north of $200 million spent on the Acolyte versus the results. Where's the money going?
So catering is a very interesting thing because people get sick of the stuff that's being catered. I mean, I've been on shows where the stuff was way too good, way too rich, and finally people just wanted lasagna and hamburgers. So
I'll take lasagna any day. So good with me.
Sure. So I mean, you know, right now there's all sorts of information that money is being siphoned off into the C-suite. So when you see a budget like $180 million for the Acolyte, it's not that people are complaining. People are complaining that they're not seeing the $180 million on the screen. The reason is that the show is actually not costing that. Money is disappearing. Mm-hmm. What we're seeing I mean, I would actually like to know what the exact amount of money, you know, the below the line costs are on it, because we're not seeing it, but it's not. It's $180 million is not going in the show. It's going into other people's pockets. And with the catering, I'm saying it's the same thing is happening.
Somebody's renting out the top floor of the Acto Waldorf Astoria or something here. This is the point where, you know, and we get there has to be somebody embezzling funds thing. There's so many ranges to this fight. It could be as low as just incompetence. It could be that you have a producer that feels like they own the world or deserve the world, and so they're overspending here. But I totally agree with you. That $180 million that they're implying in the New York Times, and we should know very soon. Within a month, we should know how much this show actually cost if Disney's UK filing people are actually keeping up.
But does it tell you what the expenditures on the see? That's what no one is talking about, and I would love to see that.
How much is going to legal fees?
Well, there's that too. And
or to intimacy coordinators.
And we make, so we make fun of the fact that suddenly you see people showing up in an endless list of executive producers. That's actually one way to siphon money out of a show. Okay. The other way to do it is that you'll see things like script coordinating, and they've done nothing, but they take money for it. People are taking money. You got to go through the credits and you'll go, oh, there's that name again. Oh, there's that name again. And I've seen that a lot where people are siphoning off money, or you'll see some other company that's a shell company that they are actually putting money into. I've seen that.
Oh, do they ever do that? And then they give a percentage back under the table to whoever helped them get the gig?
I haven't seen that so much. I've seen it as just full on greed, personal greed.
I just wonder, when you're dealing with someone who was the personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, the cogs inside the head start moving when you hear about the opportunities, the ways that they might set up slush funds. So just a thought. Thank you, WM Trends, though.
They have other ways of they have other ways of thanking you.
Yeah. Moving on. Let's see here. To Neil 89 for $2. I am become Bob, destroyer of profits. Be careful.
But they're making too much money in the park still. Even though the park is floundering, they're still profiting in the park. And this is why we're not hearing more, pain noises.
Right. 70% of the company's revenue right now is coming from parks and resort. And let's see, 1/3 of all of the profit for the entire company is Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida.
Right. And if all their movie, what percentage of profits came from the movies?
None. They're still a drain. They're not making any
I'm talking
money.
about when they were making money.
Oh,
like how big a piece of the pie did they? Like, it's not hurting them financially. This is the problem.
It was something like $2 billion pre-pandemic.
Right. So if the entire company was making $10 billion, the movie business would be bringing in $2 billion, not counting how much it actually cost to make.
I'm running off the top of my head. I think pre-pandemic it was something like $90 billion in revenues, and $2 billion of that. No, I'm sorry, $2 billion in profit was movies. So it would have been something like $4.2 billion in total revenues. Somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah. Flying blind on a rocket cycle for $10. I overloaded on Sith names. I forget which one Lord mentioned during that last Acolyte post show. I actually ended up trying to think of a few threatening ones to put in a subsequent chat. For $10 more, Megan, there's a $20 super chat.
Oh.
New Sith names submitted for your approval: Darth Hemorrhoidus, Darth Poopyheadus, Darth Breakwindus, Darth Abnormalus, Darth But Wait It's Worsus, and finally Darth Oh I Give Up-us.
At least that's what I hear.
Wait, what?
Be prepared to do a spit take.
One of my favorite things in this entire round of Acolyte stuff is, as I love watching the other reviews after I finish mine, but I love going around the horn to my favorite reviewers and just hearing what name substitutes they are using for Acolyte characters. So Little Platoon, does the OSHA, whatever the safety something or other, the American acronym.
Yeah, it is OSHA. Yeah, Occupational Health Administration.
Paul, I do Mary Kate and Oshley.
I do Sith Green. I was doing can't remember.
Sith Green. I get it.
I do OSHA, but I also add Mayday to it. So Mayday, OSHA, and their lost sister FEMA. Yeah.
But I love it. I love how everyone has come up with their pantheon of their own special names for the characters.
It's because they're so bad you can't use the real names.
Right.
Well, either that or you have the Star Trek problem where you don't remember their names.
Well,
right? We were watching Star Trek Discovery, because that was like one of the only Star Trek shows. It's like, okay, this is crazy. I know the names of Star Trek characters in shows that I haven't even watched, like Deep Space Nine. But like, I could not tell you half of the names of any of these characters besides Mikey Spock. Right? And that's the only reason we remember her is because that's what we kept calling her. But the rest of them all had nicknames because we couldn't remember their darn names. There was like Wheels, which is the guy in the wheelchair. There was Lisa Left Eye, which is the one with only one. Like we had all these different names for him. But yeah, sorry.
My most popular one has been for Basil. I named him Them It Otta. So I keep playing. Ain't no hole in a wash tub jokes.
That's great. Tennille 89 for $5 at Fox Sports. We upload 90% of our footage to Tubi at some point. Archived, current, it gets on eventually. It's a primary piece of our infrastructure. Fox owns Tubi. This is the thing that we didn't point out. Tubi only cost $440 million for Rupert Murdoch to purchase.
I was going to say, be clear on that because there's still a lot of people who don't understand where the demarcation line is between FX and those stations. Fox itself is News Corp and what they own. See, so some people still think that just because Fox News is whatever, they think Disney owns Fox News now. It's like, no. The Murdochs do. And this was a stupid move on Disney's fault. When they bought Fox, they should have been like, nope, we own the name now. You're just going to have to change your news organization. Maybe you should call it News Corp because that's what you're called. Maybe that's what they should have done. Because I'm telling you, I'm paying $70 billion for something called 20th Century Fox. I want the Fox.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was talking with an executive at the time of the merger, talking about how now they'll have this problem of the Fox brand and who is going to be in charge of the Fox brand and put all these things here or whatever. And he actually said to me, "Oh, there's no way they get rid of that Fox brand. You never kill a brand."
They did.
And that is exactly what they did.
20th century.
The stupidest move in history.
Folks, we're about to make the stupidest move in history. We're about to say goodbye to Paul Chatto and send him back to X from whence he came and cannot be anymore. Paul, we hate to have to see you go. Down. Oh, but look at the celebration, folks, as he gets ready to go up, and away. Paul, tell the folks out there about your appalling channels, please.
So you can watch me either on Call Me Chatto or on Appalling News, and that's spelled APAULING News. I'm having a ton of fun both, and I will be covering the Acolyte tonight and maybe even joining you on the post-show party briefly.
We need a 30-second grimace. That's what we need from you, sir.
That's all.
A grimace.
I have bought 30 barf bags from United Airlines.
Well, and 28 of them are for you. Yes.
I stole them, actually.
Share with the rest.
Yeah, I went on one of the planes while they were cleaning them, and I just took the barf bags.
Well, I hear they're reusable. So,
well, I mean, only one of them was empty.
So. Yeah, and in that case, if you're not sure if you're on the edge of barfing, you just get one of the used ones, and it'll do the deal. It's
recyclable.
Yep, push you right over the edge. All right, well, Paul, we wish you well and your diaphragm as well. We'll see you soon. Be a swell time tonight.
Listen,
later,
thank you for inviting me as always. This was a good show, good panel. Everyone is great. Love you all. And hope to see you tomorrow, Tom.
I've been waiting to hear that, man. Love you too.
That's
Love
right.
you too.
We're
take
going to make
it
a
easy.
tribute song about you in the honor of the end of Tenacious D.
I would be honored.
That's right.
What a talent we've lost.
All right, folks. Well, as we lose Paul, I think he's talking about himself. He's not talking about Tenacious D. That's where you're all confused.
Yeah.
Okay. Clearly.
All right, we're going to come back to Super Chats in just a moment. Guys, I think we're going to have to divert and not cover the Twisters story today. We'll have to put that away and come back to it later. There's just so many Super Chats, and we love the engagement from the community, so we're happy to do those. Let's go to the Mark Hamill story so we make sure we get it in. And Jonas, I know you've got another story about this. We'll come to the Splash Mountain issue in just a moment. But quickly, folks, here's the deal with Mark Hamill and why he is just not a great person. And then we'll hit Splash Mountain. It says, this is from NME.com by Elizabeth Aubrey. Trump supporters are laying into Mark Hamill about Bandage Post. The Star Wars actor has faced criticism for his comments about Trump online. So there is Mark Hamill. The reason this matters is because we believe that Mark Hamill is going to be in the Mandalorian movie. In fact, we believe that he has been on the production set. And we could be wrong, but we strongly believe that rumor, and we've been reporting on it. Of course, it is rumor and speculation, but we believe it. And the problem here is we also think Mark might be involved in some other Star Wars projects. And all of this gets very dicey when you consider where Star Wars is going to be. If they're going to try to save this in a post-Kathleen Kennedy era, and that era has to happen at some point in the future, and so they've got to be planning for that. Mark Hamill could absolutely destroy that effort if he is so vicious and so vitriolic that people just can't stand him. He is now like that drunken uncle that comes to your Thanksgiving party and no one wants him there. He is that. Even the people on the far left are like, oh, please don't anymore. Please. He just won't stop. Here's the latest. Some supporters of the former president are criticizing Mark Hamill online. I think it's far beyond that. I think NME is minimizing this. I think rational, kind, and good people are condemning what he's saying. Following a post from the Star Wars actor about the former president, there was a failed attempt to end his life. The man, you all know, did it, killed someone else. Hamill made a comment about Trump's appearance in public yesterday. This would be yesterday, still July 15th. His first since the shooting. And it's the first time he's commented on his appearance. He's made other posts and deleted them, by the way, because he knows he goes too far. So in his better moments, he deletes the things that he says that are vitriolic and awful. Saying the bandage the former president was wearing on his ear was oversized. He also went on to claim that the bandage wasn't worn prior to the appearance. Hamill tweeted, first appearance of ludicrously oversized ear bandage apparently not needed prior to tonight. The response drew criticism online. One described it as an evil thing to say, while others criticized him for being sad. You can see more of the reaction to the post here. We're not going to go into that. I'll just show you. This is Mark Hamill. This is his comment. You'll see that Trump is wearing a particular bandage that has an appearance to it that I'm going to explain in a moment for those of you who might not understand it. Again, we're not here to be political. This is not a political comment. This is more of a medical topic. And I don't like being put in a position where we're talking about medical issues, but we're here now because of Mark Hamill and because he's just vile.
So medical topic, my doctor gave me one of those and he said if I keep using it, the rash will go away.
Exactly. Well, it won't go away for Mark. But the first appearance of a ludicrously oversized ear bandage not needed prior to tonight. Let me explain this for folks, okay? So a bullet went through this man's ear, through the top. It was millimeters away from ending him, and he turned his head at like 1 second before, and that's the only reason he's alive, okay? Now, Mark wants to mock this bandage. Trump has been wearing a bandage. This new bandage looks different. Here is why I am told this bandage may be worn rather than, what would typically go over a chunk of your ear being missing. Trump is entering into the RNC convention. It is a large stadium, and it is filled with people, and there is loud music everywhere. Trump might not want to have his entire ear encased in bandaging and all of that wrap stuff. But at the same time, there may need to be some protection in terms of audio, because when you go into a concert area and the music is loud and the crowd is cheering, you're going to get that feeling that you've had when you're in front of speakers where your body reverberates. And that might actually be very painful if you've had a portion of your ear blown off.
Or if a bullet has grazed your ear, something traveling at that speed going past your ear, I'm going to say that might also affect your eardrum a little bit.
Exactly. And so this is a bandage that is designed, we believe, in order to protect his eardrum, as well as when you have that thumping and loud noise and all of that going in from a man's ear who had a bullet whiz by. And I'm sure that wasn't quiet. We don't know about any kind of internal ear injury, but it's not unlikely. And Mark Hamill is sitting here laughing about it. And so I don't want to go into the politics of it. I want to go here. Is this man damaging the opportunity, Mark Hamill that is he damaging the opportunity for Star Wars to have any kind of comeback if he's in it? In other words, are we going to get to the point where if Mark Hamill's in the Mandalorian movie, half the country's going to say, I will not go support this if he's playing Luke? You guys take it away.
Well, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. People are already so sick to death of him. He is so attached himself now with the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he has made himself entirely political, and therefore he has become a political pawn. He is entirely attached to politics now. There's no going back from it.
Well, and look at what just happened with Kyle Gass and Jack Black, right? We've been talking about
how long until that happens to Mark, Tom?
Exactly. Like, this is what I'm saying. This is like almost unprecedented. I hate getting like this feeling of schadenfreude or whatever you want to call it, but like this whole idea that a lot of these people now that are being quote unquote canceled over their TDS is kind of
well, their TDS has rotted their souls. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Like, look, the dude had his ear blown off. His head was almost blown off by millimeters, and you're mocking him because he's wearing a protective bandage in a concert venue.
Right. Look, we all have that one friend who's a hypochondriac, right? Like they have everything, and everything is wrong with them all the time. And even those people, even though we know they're a hypochondriac and we know a lot of the stuff that there's like whatever, it's probably mostly in their head. We don't say it to their face or we don't say it out in front of people because we're not going to try and hurt their feelings. Or you never know. You don't want to be that one guy who says, "Oh, you're just full of it," and then find out, "Oh God, this guy had cancer." Shit. No. And then like you just pointed out, Pro, this dude literally had a bullet come less than an inch from taking out his brain and clipped
quarter
his
inch
ear.
Yep.
Like, I mean, he and Evander Holyfield now have a lot in common, right? So that's what.
And you don't have to be a Trump supporter. Yeah. You don't have to be a Republican. Just say, you know what? This guy had his ear blown off.
Right.
He wants to wear on it. Have at it, man. You've earned it.
Well, look, if there's anything in the world right now that has said, let's bring down the temperature a little bit, and I don't care what side you're on, right? And I know, like you guys said, you don't want to get too political on this, but that's the point. Like, this is one of those points where we just really all need to step back and take a look at the situation and what got us here. And what we see here, and going off of what Mark's saying and what happened with Tenacious TDS and all that kind of stuff, is like you guys are not even, you can't even see the fact that you can't even see this person as a human being. The media, the press, these celebrities have dehumanized Trump for so long. They can't even see him at a moment where we came, like you just said, less than a half an inch from Civil War and possibly World War III. They can't even get over their own TDS for 2 seconds to realize maybe I should stop and bring the temperature down a little bit because maybe I did play into this a little bit. But oh no, the press, the media, these people like Mark and all them, they're turning around. They're trying to turn it around on Trump and all his supporters. It's like, now wait a minute here. Let's have the shoe on a reverse. You know, gall darn well, and we've seen the result of what happens on the other side of certain things, and I don't even have to get deep into that. Can you imagine had somebody taken a pot shot at Biden?
Oh no, no.
Yeah, let's not even go there, right? So that being said, I'm going to bring the temperature down on this conversation a little bit and say yes, Mark is on that line. He's teetering to the point where if he does not stop, or if a lot of these celebrities do not stop, what has happened to Tenacious TDS is going to happen to them too, because you have a lot of people who, even though they may be left or what have you, they are still going to go say, wait a minute, I'll time out. We're talking about a life here, a human life here. And you're treating it like
and somebody was murdered.
And somebody was killed. Died. Exactly. Somebody died. A father, a brother, a son.
Yeah. Is Mark gonna mock the funeral next? Is that where we're going? The problem here, and Ron, I want to get you in on this. What I would say about it is Mark reminds me of the worst relationships. In the worst relationships, you'll find neither side can de-escalate. So when you get an argument, both sides will go to whatever level and never stop. And so it just escalates to the highest point, right? And that's a terrible situation to be in. And many folks out there in the audience have experienced individuals who there's no limit to where they will go to win in a personal conflict, argument, debate, whatever. That's Mark. That's Mark Hamill. There's no, you could have World War III and Mark Hamill will sit there and talk about, the horrible people that he disagrees with instead of saying, hey, why don't we stop all this and actually be for each other? He is the anti-Luke Skywalker. He's the worst person possible to represent that character. And that's why Disney may have to pull a Tenacious D or Tenacious TDS, as you said, situation here and say, you're out. Get rid of him out of The Mandalorian, bring in somebody else to play Luke Skywalker, strip his name out of the credits because he's that vile. Ron?
I think it's time to bring in somebody else anyway, because there are so many other things that they can do with the characters of Luke, Han, and Leia if they want to, if they hire new actors to replace them. But I also wanted to talk about other celebrities that aren't making this mistake, ones that you would think might, like a Mark Ruffalo, for example, or
Tim
or a Don
Robbins.
Cheadle, Tim Robbins. I mean, you know, a lot of celebrities are playing this really, really smart. They probably have very similar feelings, and they're not saying anything. And I think that's at least intelligent on their part, because, you know, you look at, you know, going back to the Gina Carano situation, she didn't say anything remotely this bad. She was just giving her own personal opinion on a taken perspective.
He wanted peace.
A very general, yeah, very peace. And this is so different than that. And this is directly attacking somebody that was himself attacked, and any of the repercussions from that attack. Like you said, at least one person died. I'm hearing that there may be more of that coming as the news continues to come out about this.
Well, let's pray that's not the case.
No, but I mean, nobody wants that. And again, if anybody, if something similar had happened to somebody on the other side, you know, whether it was Joe or Kamal or whoever else, and this type of thing happened, I mean, there would be, you know, hell to pay, so to speak.
Right. Well, this would have sent us to hell. That's what these nut jobs don't understand. Like, you think this was going to happen, and our world would not have went into complete catastrophe? Like, you think that's how the election would have been won by your side? No, we would be here today in hell. Like, our country and maybe the world would have been in hell today. You would have seen things that we have not seen since the 1800s. And so these kind of people are the kind of people who would have celebrated what happened to Mr. Lincoln. And it's vile, it's despicable, it's terrible. Enough of it.
And I may be the differing opinion on this, but no, I don't think the same thing is going to happen to Mark that happened to Kyle and Jack.
Well, that's interesting, Tom, because 52% agree with you, 48% are saying otherwise.
And I'll tell you why they probably
very
will.
Contentious.
I think why they may be agreeing more so with me is because they know where he comes from and where he's working and who Disney is.
Yeah.
That's par for the course when it comes to that.
Well, the
Kyle
land of Joy
just got
Behar.
in. You got to stop and think. All Mark is doing is just screaming to the masses on X, right? He's just sitting there watching the phone, waiting for it to ring for Disney to say, we want you to come back as Luke. He's not doing anything else, right? Like, on the other side of this, Kyle just got an entire tour canceled, possibly Jack canceled. We don't even know. He might have even cost Jack another job or something like that on the side that we don't even know about. And I mean, the way Jack has distanced himself now from this whole thing with, you know, putting Tenacious D on complete. This is a big deal. Like, that's it. This could be the end of Tenacious D right now. And other people are talking about one of the main reasons that they probably did this is because all these venues probably canceled on them because of insurance reasons. And I don't know if you guys touched on that in any of the other times, but like, yeah. So this case, Mark is probably fine. In the public eye, though, not so much. He's losing the support of even some of those who normally wouldn't care about his TDS, I guess.
I think we were all hoping for a Luke Skywalker response. We were hoping for a guy to step up and be like, you know,
for once in his life.
Yeah, like this is bad. Like, you know, I don't agree with the man, you know, politically, but I don't want to see the end of his life. No, instead we got the Joker popping up, being like, so he has 2 ears, doesn't he? Like, it was ridiculous what he did.
It's who he is. It's who he is, and that's very unfortunate.
Joker, more appropriate for Mark.
All right, folks, let's hop into our last story of the day, and that is that Splash Mountain.
Just kidding.
Splash Mountain has been a horrific situation for the Walt Disney Company. Apologies on not getting to the Twister story. Hollyweird is angry that Twisters doesn't feature climate change narratives. We'll talk about that in a future video. Don't worry, we'll get to it. Maybe this Tuesday. Still deciding if we're going to do a Tuesday pro show. We'll find out. But here we got it. This is out of News Channel 8. That's because the Forbes article is behind a paywall. We try not to do those.
WFLA Tampa Bay. Sorry, bring
there
back
you go. Garrett Phillips, the author here, and Jonas is going to bring up another article in just a moment, the one from Forbes. But it says Disney spent $142 million to transform Splash Mountain into Tiana's Bayou adventure. Now, the reason this is bad is because we had been led to believe there's $100 million. So clearly this went over budget. And by the way, they did it on both coasts. So you're talking about a $300 million change they've made that has destroyed, a lot of goodwill with their company. Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the replacement for the controversial Splash Mountain attraction at both Disneyland and California. I think it's time to say the controversial Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I think that's, news media. It's time for you to figure out what we've been saying. Controversial Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the replacement for previously most popular attraction in the world, Splash Mountain, and still is, by the way, at Tokyo, has had several problems since it opened last month. Now, guys, girls, I'll just tell you, when I was there, it was down every time I went by it except once. So you figure out how well it's going. Still, a new report from Forbes suggests Disney's headaches with the ride are far from over. According to the business publication, the cost for Disney to transform the attraction across the two Disney parks is estimated at about $150 million over the past 4 years. The publication estimated the cost by examining the cost of both Avengers Campus at $404 million and the Star Tours update at $71 million. Both numbers revealed by Disney Imagineer on LinkedIn. Forbes says the hefty cost of the ride's update is not the only problem Disney currently faces. Between a deluge of negative feedback on a ride-through video for Tiana's Bayou Adventure and lower park attendance for the 4th of July holiday, finally they're catching up. I think some of these people are reading us, watching us. Caroline, we love you. The publication ponders how much the bad PR attention is affecting the media giant. The reputational damage of this debacle is incalculable, and that alone could make it one of the most costly theme park rides in Disney's history. Forbes contributor Caroline Reed writes, some might put the criticism down to anti-woke activists, but there's little doubt that the ride compares poorly to its predecessor, as the video shows. And folks, let's not forget that has been put out there in the media. The media now calls it the necessary downgrade. And once they put that into verbiage, you know that they've lost the narrative. Guys, gals here on the panel, what do you think about Tiana's Bayou Adventure being a hugely costly mistake for Disney? And by the way, Ron and Marvin, if you've been near the ride, give me your take on how much it's down. I think it stays broken just about as much as it runs.
Was down this morning. It was down this morning. I don't know if it's up right now, but I do know for a fact that people were complaining online. They're like, I'm seeing posts of people making online. I have group 9. How as Tiana's normally down this log, and everybody's chiming in going, yeah, it's probably not going to open until noon or 1. And we've seen this happen so many days. The ride is broken. I was thinking earlier, as bad as the theming is, they could have just changed this to a Star Wars ride, because at least then it would be going down all the time. It's a mess.
They don't even try to keep it open now at certain points. Splash Mountain may have had some broken animatronics because it did not receive the care that it needed, but that is different than being destroyed. That is different than building now into the schedule. This is not going to run at these points of the day because we can't keep it running, so we'll give it everything we've got from the opening hour until we have to close it down, and let's pray for rain so we can close it due to thunderstorms so we can work on it to get it ready for the afternoon. This is crazy.
Now, Pro, there is one point I need to make. You asked the question of whether or not Caroline Reed was watching that park place or covering that park place. I just need to point this out from the original article itself right here. Another industry expert, that park place, added that its contributor, Lorena Creole, was taken aback by the low crowds at Magic Kingdom on July 3rd and July 4th. The crowd levels are definitely much lower than they used to be for the 4th. So,
article written by Marvin Louis Monster.
Yes, congratulations to everyone involved in this, and especially the Queen of Florida, Lorena.
That's more prestigious than when we get mentioned. It's usually infamous in front of our name.
Right? They just put your thumbnail up there and they go, see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Lorena was very gracious. She sat down with me in private for that article, and she gave me a whole bunch of quotes, recounted to me all everything that went down on the 4th of July. So, we did a lot of work on that 4th of July article. I was really touching to see that Forbes linked to us.
Yes, and Forbes carrying that, and by the way, folks, it still stands true. We're now at the midway point of July, and guess what? This July, the wait time for Disney World attractions, even despite the fact that malfunctions are up, which means that just by virtue of things aren't running, the wait time should increase. Still not. 29 minutes. It's increased by 1 minute since we did our initial report around the 4th of July. This is one of the worst months, if you look at this line and follow it along, since the pandemic. Okay, so let's go back to, I think August of 2021 is a fine day to start back on. August of 2021, September of 2021, and it's tied with October of 2021. Those are the worst months since the pandemic. back then they were actually limiting capacity greatly. So it was hard to have long wait times. And yet still, this sucker is down there this July. People are not going. And as I said before, and Marvin mentioned my rant, it's the worst I've ever seen it in terms of Magic Kingdom. I had a fine time at Epcot. There's nobody there. And there's not much to do. But Magic Kingdom was atrocious.
And can I just say, like, Marvin can back me up on this, that the other parks are not down like this. SeaWorld is not down like this. The Universal parks are packed. And Marvin was just there the other day. I mean, what was Universal like?
Universal was packed. There were a lot of people in Universal. It was, it was night and day. And it was a pleasant experience, too, which I haven't experienced in Disney in quite some time.
There you go.
Has there been an entire day of operations where Tiana's Bayou Adventure has not gone down for any extended period of time?
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe so.
Well, I mean, 2 years ago, you wouldn't have. No. Oh, wait. You mean while the ride existed?
No. Yes.
In that case, no. No.
So that's the story, folks. Forbes is now calling out Disney. And if you watch this channel, we told you this was going to happen. We said it for years. If you follow the Pixie Dusters, the Cupcakers, the High on Life Tinkerbellers, well, they've been telling you everything was swell. You had to get rid of it, destroy it if you had to. And now they've switched their tune to, it was a necessary downgrade, even though they always told you it was going to be an upgrade. And here we are. We told you the truth the whole way. Now the mainstream media catching on and saying, yeah, this is a financial disaster, the most costly financial disaster ever for the theme parks division. So have at it, Disney. It's up there with what you did with California Adventure at opening. Good job. Good job. We told you this would happen. One thing we told you would happen, Super Chats. Never leave one behind.
Speaking of Super Chats, we need to talk about Super Dave. Or, well, Space Dave wants to talk about Super Dave. Space Dave 2000 for $2 Canadian. Who's Super Dave? I've been replaced.
There's no replacing Space Dave.
There is
valued part of that game.
Dave. Did I say Super Dave or did you say Super Dave? Who said Super Dave?
I don't know. But
if one of us slip up, it's only because we see him as super. It's the only possible answer.
Yes, and I'm hoping to see him over on That Game Place tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Uncle Roger for $10. No question to ask, only appreciation for pro and team. Keep telling the truth and watch the tides turn. Soon, we all hope. This is another reason we need to accept apologies, because once people open their eyes to how damaging all of this is, they need to have a place to go to when they come to, sense. Forgive me on that one.
We're here for waking up from woke.
Yep. Packing protons for $5. Nintendo needs to recast Jack Black. Is the guy from Super Mario Brothers Super Show still alive? Real nostalgia. Unfortunately, the guy who played Luigi passed away, and I think Captain Lou Albano has passed away a while ago.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. But man, he loved playing Mario.
Well, now I'm depressed.
Super Mario Brothers and plumbing's a game.
And
stay tuned.
That was Javi Atkin, I believe, voiced King Koopa on, and he died in 2017. From Super Mario
could we
Bros.
just stop, guys? Let's just stop with the depression, okay? Enough of and here's another person you remember. He's dead. Oh, how about this guy?
Saddest part was
Sarah McLachlan music.
The saddest part was he died via fireball. I mean, that's the thing. I mean.
I thought he was on a bridge and somebody cut it and fell into lava.
Same difference.
That's the less fun way to do.
Depends on your point of view.
All along.
Hawaii Dragon Star member for 8. I wonder if some of the posts are done by their assistants and not by the people themselves. We have some people who trust too much. I don't know who's. Well, I'm going to stay away from
the instance off if that's going to be the case.
We know, at least one for sure.
Mm-hmm. With Hamill, no, there's no question in my mind. He's got somebody helping him, but that's the way he talks.
Yeah.
Mecha J member for 2. No sympathy for Jack. He chose to be political. He did choose it. Hopefully he learned something. The Mickey File podcast for $5. Everyone should get a second chance. Sorry, I'm putting my own emphasis on there. I'm going to read it flat. Everyone should get a second chance, but not necessarily today. Prove you regret it, not regret getting caught.
They got in a really sticky situation over there where there were calls for them to be deported and their entire tour was being canceled by insurance.
They actually were deported, I believe.
Oh wow!
Oh, is that the latest?
Like that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what kind of kicked it all off to begin with. Was
there you go, folks?
Yeah, because they went from, which is funny because it didn't even happen in. I think it happened in Canada the other night, and then they flew from Canada to Australia for the other part of their tour. And so, like, I don't even know how much of their tour was canceled. They were going to be in my neck of the woods in October, so I'm assuming this tour went for a while.
Don't tell Hillary Clinton we finally found the deportables.
In the words of Justin Timberlake, this is going to ruin the tour. Which tour? Well, the Tenacious D tour. It's a detour. Get it? Anyways, Industrious Bear for $2. Happy World Snake Day. Hi, Jack.
What?
Well, hey.
Is it
bear humor?
Jake is the snake in rest. Anyways, watch out for the
I
danger.
bet it was supposed to be Jake.
Yep. Sick Lid for $10. The Acolyte is right. Jedi Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill is evil. Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I think it's time for somebody else to play Luke.
Yep. Sebastian Stan, can you keep your mouth shut? Ken Reinhardt for $2.
He's been sitting in the wings, and everybody is like on board with it. They just won't pull they won't pull it on that.
Yep. Ken Reinhardt for $2. Like Biden said, we'll decide at the battle box.
Come on, man.
As of like Sabretooth the Raptor for $2. Palpatine or Ovaltine?
Rich.
One is very vanilla, Palpatine. The other chocolate.
Yeah. Just another thought for $1.99. Palps was referring to Plagueis by his pronoun.
Yes, his preferred pronouns. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard some people come up with that possibility as well.
Jagar, member for $5. What are your thoughts on Lizzo replacing Kyle Gass?
Tenacious quadruple D.
It can't be beat. No one can beat that comment. That's the winner of the day. Keep moving.
Oh, golly.
Industrious Bear for $5. I can almost hear Marvin begging his puppeteer, please don't make me wrestle the snake again tonight. Oh, no.
What?
Moving on.
Wow. Oh, no. Oh, no.
There's so much you can do right into that.
You didn't have the full title. It's Jedi Master Leslie Headland, former assistant to Harvey Weinstein's
This is true.
wife.
That's right. Green skin nepotism.
Yep. She probably knew Gavin Newsom's wife. Anyways.
Hey, I do have an Acolyte prediction. Green skin nepotism will 1000% get that whip out, and she's the hero.
It will finally end. That's my prediction.
Get out the whip.
After tonight, you won't have to worry about the Acolyte no more.
We are getting green skin whipping.
The Mickey File podcast for $5 is the Nullbridge hack related to O'Keefe's new stuff. I don't think it is, but it might be. He presented it in a way that it looked like he actually got into the Slack. He might have the resources to.
He actually had people reach out to him that work at Disney. But that doesn't mean that somehow through this whole ordeal, though maybe somebody's info got mixed out or something. Who knows? Maybe somebody saw enough in his videos that they used that as a backdoor. Again, I'm not a hacker. I don't really know computers, but I do know that all you need is just a little bit of code. Certain people can do a lot with that.
Right. If they have API keys or something like that. Knee Pain had a good little video over there on his channel, KNEE, Knee Pain, PAYNE. Former Lucasfilm guy had a great video talking about that. Informative, chill. You should go check it out. Mickey File Podcast gifted 10 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you so much, Mickey File Podcast.
Thank you, Mickey File. And hope people are checking out everything you're up to on your slice of this beautiful web out there.
Yep. Packing protons for $5. Supposedly, Disney employees have a channel for showing their cat photos in this hack.
Cat photos always win.
They do.
Yep.
Not as good as dog photos.
But that just shows you they're cat ladies, right? They don't have no kids. That's what I think Protons is getting at here. Because, normally around the office, you'd be sharing pictures of your kids and this and that and the other,
I'm reminded of when we played a little prank, maybe trolling a cat cafe stream that was meant to advertise the Marvels. there's a very specific demographic here that is influencing Disney and Marvel and all of these right now.
Well,
also,
wasn't there just an article?
Go ahead.
Wasn't there just an article from like Forbes or something like that was calling out like that Star Wars is now for cat ladies or something like that? I know we covered it. I can't remember which outlet put it out, but yeah.
If you look at the merch that they sent out to the influencers for this, it was like a blanket, a phone charger, an Acolyte, a wok bowl with chopsticks. Like none of macaroons that were stamped with the Acolyte. None of this would appeal to a child in any way, and you just have to wonder what in the world is wrong with the people who are trying to sell this as a good use of $200 million. Hawaii Dragonstar for 5. As I told VR, Acolyte has so many plot holes and unresolved plot threads. On the next Acolyte, a very special 3-hour episode. If this thing is 3 hours, I will die laughing. I will
never go to bed.
Oh,
yeah.
No, please.
You'll die laughing, and I will never get sleep.
If at 9 p.m. I find out that this thing is 3 hours, it's all off. It's all off.
This was clearly meant to be a 2-hour movie, and they stretched it into 8 episodes because we have 2 full flashback episodes, 1 episode that's a pointless action sequence, and just nonsense filler constantly. There's no way they've got enough to fill anything more than 30 minutes or 40 minutes at the most tonight.
I wonder if they're going to do one more flashback and it'll be framed as going before the council and one more flashback because there needs to be quote unquote one more perspective in to fill in the gaps. Packing protons for $10 without getting too political. How do you convince a never Trumper to come to their senses? You don't have to like Trump, but you have to see how evil the Democrats are these days. The only thing I'm going to say to that, to your first question, how do you convince a never Trumper to come to their senses? You apparently make them your vice presidential candidate. And then I'm going to back away from this very slowly.
Well, this is a very difficult question, but a very pertinent one, especially for like people like us who aren't used to politics being such a big deal in our lives. Maybe, perhaps, the nerd types or whatever you want to call us. I mean, I guess my opinion on this, or my best advice would be, first of all, try not to paint the Democrats as evil, right? Because you're then doing exactly what everybody has been doing to Trump and the right for the last 8 years. That's the first move you don't want to make. Basically, I think your best move is to probably try and just humanize Trump as much as possible. Not by telling your friends they're wrong or whatever, but I mean, maybe if not, shift the focus to the fact that they're probably being deceived by the press and the media. I know that's tough for some people to accept, but at the same time, that's a lot easier for some folks to accept than you going, well, you're wrong. And because that's the last thing people want to hear, or that their convictions or their feelings or beliefs have been wrong. Because some people are just never going to like Trump, and that's fine. But I guess the best way to approach it, in my opinion, would be to look, in the last few days, it's become pretty obvious that a lot of people don't view him as a human being. And I think you need to acknowledge that. And I think that a lot of people need to take a step back and really look at a lot of the rhetoric and stuff they've been saying. But the best way to get somebody on your side is to never tell them they're wrong, but to try and help them come to the same conclusion, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody has any better advice than that, I guess.
It just reminds me of when Anakin was fighting Obi-Wan in, I think it was episode 3, and he's like, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. It's like, it's a point of view thing. You got to look at things across the board flat and humanize every human. Everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Daryl the Derelict for 20. The vac tube may be vulgar at times, but we stand for goodness, kindness, and fun. Hate has no place here. I thank you guys for being a great place to go. Rock on, gentlemen. Keep the faith, brothers. Thank you very much, Daryl. I know you from Valiant, and I've always appreciated your comments, and I like this one a lot. Easy on the swears there, Daryl, but yes, absolutely.
Cool and kind. That's Daryl the Derelict.
That's right. Tennille 89 for $5. Marvin, is New Wrestling the one Jim Sterling joined?
Heavens no.
Is this the same Jim Sterling I'm thinking of?
Probably.
Oh my. Anyways, Jim Jam for $4.99. The meet and greet with a male Ariel should come with unlimited time on the spinning teacups. Only when dizzy and disoriented does this make sense.
Great, Bob.
It is right there, like right next to the teacup, so it would make sense.
Yep. Packing protons for $10. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind making fun of it and covering it. Love the after parties, but I think apathy across the board might get more results for Disney. Stopping to make garbage.
Well, Packing. Here's the answer to that. Watch what happens with Skeleton Crew, because you're about to get your wish.
Yeah, of course. But I would also say that people see these things that happen and they get angry about it because they see it for what it is, the cultural vandalism that's being committed against popular franchises. And rather than stew in their own anger and get upset about it, channels like ours all seek to provide you with a funny take on it so you can laugh at it while still being angry, but at least it brings you some joy in your life. Like I'm sure I'm sure Tom, you guys have gotten these comments from people being like, I don't watch the show, I watch it through your reviews of the show and it makes me laugh and it brings some joy to my life. So that's what we're trying to do.
Agree.
That would be me.
Yep. That would $4.99 from Spoon. I appreciate y'all. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Spoon.
John ID99.
For Kim.
John JID for $199. All that money for that terrible ride. What a waste. And it's not like that's going away after a year like a movie. Come on.
We said it'll be there for 20 years. They got to close it. They got to close it and build on it in the next January, February. It's going to have to happen.
For additional $199, Disney spends like Tony Khan on a late night binge. Hawaii Dragon Star for $5. Is the intimacy coordinator the reason why they could tie up and expose themselves on screen? How much did that cost? We don't know how much the intimacy coordinator cost. Yes, that is why the intimacy coordinator would have been hired. We had assumed it was for the shirtless scene with Yord, but
I'll tell you what it cost. It cost us everything.
That's accurate.
And clothes.
Yeah. Oh, I need to apologize to Packing Protons for $5. And Paul, I'm building up super chats for paying for my commercial. You do have a ghost to bust in the form of Lou, after all. Oh my, that's fantastic. And Shrebbles for $10, sending in a super sticker. It's that bouncing bean saying you're number one.
Okay, let me explain my reactions. First reaction is, oh my God, he's a ghost. And then it's like, wait, maybe I can be a Ghostbuster too.
Because busted makes you feel good, right?
It does.
Ghost 5410 member for 11.
Speaking of ghosts,
Mark Hamill heavily implied it didn't happen. Yeah, you're good. I've already seen the idea that it shot a teleprompter and the glass got him. So that's going to be an interesting one. There are plenty of political incidents over the years that we've not been able to get the nuance through on it, that I'm willing to let this one slide, even if it's the glass from the teleprompter. I don't care,
Typical actors, though. I mean, even back to Lincoln, I mean, I'm sure even then they were trying to deny that an actor had anything to do with that, too.
Mm-hmm. Chaos Sonic for $5. Remember, Mark did force his to just saying, but what do I know as a former fan of him?
Yeah, we're getting down in the deep weeds now.
Yeah, that's when I say that all people have a divine purpose. Yes. AWM Trends Entertainment for $4.99. Today is officially a win. Alyssa Mercante has blocked me on X.
Hey, welcome
Congratulations.
to the club. Block her back because she plays the game where she unblocks to snipe at you and then blocks again. So block her back.
Oh, isn't that
I'm
fun,
still
though?
not blocked. I think she can't get enough of me.
Ghost Beetle member for 3. Such beautiful nerds. Not enough space for my haiku. Wait, is this such beautiful nerds? Not enough space for my high. Nope. Yep. That's not a 575. But thank you very much for all of that.
You tried.
John JID for $199. Those 2 okra cost Mercedes Monet whole contract.
Yeah, it's true. And she's paid a lot of money that she doesn't deserve.
Ash Bannery for $10. Mark Hamill's unhinged rants over the past year have soured me, I'm assuming, on the Luke Skywalker character to where I can't even stand him in the OT anymore. Star Wars is dead, and bringing back Luke won't save it.
And that's the legacy that Mark Hamill is creating for himself, being so vile that people can't enjoy the character that he played.
The only option they have now is the guy who looks like Luke Skywalker back in the day, the CGI Luke Skywalker, and hopefully disassociating him from Jake Skywalker.
I'm able to look at Mark Hamill as a young man and not see the pock-faced, nicotine-voiced goblin that he has become in recent years. So I don't have that problem.
Maybe he really is Jake.
Going Shogi for $1.99. The ever elusive puzzle of logs floating on water.
And not moving. Unclog that sucker, Disney.
Fix bayonets for $2. I was hoping that it's a different kind of cat pick. Thank you for that. TLJ Screwjob member for 15. JD Vance observed 45, met him, and was convinced. Yeah, I'm going to try not to go political, but I see what you're saying there. SFX Sabretooth Raptor for 5. I may be wrong, but I don't think Star Wars is savable at this point. It would have to be vaulted for 20 years, then complete recast, different timeline.
I'll reduce it to 10 years, but yeah, I'm with you.
They would also have to stop releasing stuff on Disney Plus. Really, really stop. AWM Trends Entertainment for $4.99. Final word. See you all tonight. P.S. Let's hope Ariel doesn't end up having any extra gadgets and gizmos.
Oh, I've got plenty.
Bring him a bobs.
Nay. Plenty.
Fix
but who cares? I want more.
Fish and fishnet stockings.
Fix bayonets for 2. What
Scuttle,
George
what's
Takei
this?
said was worse than Mark. I think we've all given up on Sulu. See, this is the problem with
Sulu.
He started out sharing some funny memes and was like, oh, look, George Takei is posting funny memes. It's probably his grandkid or something like that. And then he went super political, and that made me say, oh my. Packing protons for $2. Meaningless acronyms return. Cartman, SYGIGH. I don't know what they mean. Pro, am I in trouble?
See you guys.
I'm going. See you guys.
I'm going home. Yeah.
Screw you guys. That's right. Spence Smith for $2.
Go ahead.
Any record of Leslie denouncing her old boss? None that come to mind.
That's what. If she had done that, totally different story. And the way we would cover everything to do with her. The fact that she doesn't is terrifying.
The only thing I've ever seen her say was that she didn't know that it was happening while it was happening, which she would be the only person in Hollywood that didn't know.
Hey, yeah.
Why are all the meetings at a hotel room today? Anyway.
At 3 a.m. I don't understand. What could this mean? It's all young ladies, and they all seem distraught when they return. But I'm very pro-woman, believe me. All right, Jonas, is that all of our super chats?
Sir, that is all of the super chats. They were still coming in as of just a minute ago. So thank you very much for your generosity today, even though YouTube doesn't seem to like it. Hold on here. Is that bass of treble and bass from Mega Man 8? Casperius for $5. At this point, I want someone to replace Hamill's face and voice with Sebastian Stan in the original trilogy movies. They pretty much have done that at this point. They look so much like each other.
So much.
Hopefully he ages more gracefully.
Yeah.
It is time for bonus member chats. We'll get through these rather quickly, and then we're going to send you to T3PO live. Folks, quick reminder, we do need your help with Vacation Radio for whatever reason, and perhaps it's because of how phenomenally it was supported by you all, but YouTube didn't count the first month at all towards watch hours, and we really need to get that thing to 4,000 watch hours. That's the point where YouTube will begin to recommend it to people. And until then, it can only survive based on us linking to it and all that sort of thing. So if you can help us by going to Vacation Radio and just let it play, just enjoy the music in the background, it would be a huge lift to us. Again, YouTube, for whatever weird reason, did not count the entire first month of its existence, and I don't think they're going to. So help us out. Go to Vacation Radio. Just listen in. It's the way that we're going to begin releasing original content. And yeah, we would love to have your support. All right, bonus member chats. I strongly recommend, says Big Daddy MRI. I strongly recommend watching Masters of the Air. Simply outstanding, and I'd love to hear everyone's reaction of the show. Well, Big Daddy will put that on the list of things we need to watch and give some commentary towards. Hang tight. Stuttering Guitarist, of course, one of the gentlemen working on Vacation Radio. If you could re-release any movie right now that could help people just enjoy being people and live in the moment of great art, what would make your top 2 or 3? Harvey is my number 1, The Shop Around the Corner, and possibly what about Bob? Panel, what movie puts you in a good mood and you think people need to watch?
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs.
Doubtfire, Groundhog Day.
Back to the Future.
Porky's.
Groundhog Day or the first Lord of the Rings. It's not quite a good mood by the end of it, but that first scene in the Shire, that is, to me, that is, heaven is not a place on earth, but if it was a place on earth, I imagine the Shire.
Caddyshack.
For some reason, because it's so anti-woke, I'm thinking McClintock right now. particularly the final scene. Karen Owen, I have been watching a classic. Oh, good, get out of here. I have been watching a classic 70s series on Tubi, and it seems like the most frequently seen ads are for Disney Plus. More poor business sense from Disney financing another competitor. Yes, and we'll look into that and see how those Tubi ads are being collected up. Dustin Sensenig says, help a single guy out. Which of the Force of Light girls is available? William Thompson and I were kind of fighting over them. Well, Dustin, you just need to show up when they're on the panel, eh?
Yeah. All I can say is they're even lovelier in person.
That's right. Go and Shogi says, could the Communicore walls be intentionally left empty so they can do those paint by numbers for Festival of the Arts? They took down the walls where the canvases were, and this paint by numbers used to print money. I think it's more simple than that. Go and Shogi. I think that they are left empty because budget. That's what I think. But I could be wrong. We'll see what they do with them. Kocho Dragoon, Dr. Kocho Dragoon says, I appreciate sharing the post I made regarding a certain pixie duster. No credit needed. It's bad enough they go after common sense Disney OG fans for not agreeing with everything Iger does, but that post just made the rest of Disney fandom look bad. We all know there's still good Disney fans out there. Even Ron would agree. I don't know, Ron. I don't know if you still agree. Ron?
There's good Disney fans out there?
You agree, right?
Yeah, of course there's still good Disney fans out there.
There you go.
That's the thing. It's like we all want to see them course correct. That's all.
There you go, folks. Skeptic Tank says, I haven't watched a lick of the Acolyte given the highs and lows I'm experiencing with medicinal effects, side effects, along with rehab kicking my buttocks. Would watching the show produce the proper laughter or an aggravated experience? I've been selective lately. Should I give a shot to Inside Out 2 or Despicable Me 4? I think you should watch Despicable Me 4 for some fun. Inside Out 2, if you are going through what you're going through, not a fun film that way. And on the Acolyte, you should watch episodes 3 and 6 and maybe 5 and nothing else. No, I'm sorry, I've got those wrong. Episode 3 and 7 and episode 5 and nothing else. Those are the funniest ones. Unintentionally funny, by the way. All right, Jonas, I don't see any more super chats. No, I'm wrong. No, I am not wrong. Okay, no more super chats. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been so kind and so generous today on a day when YouTube was not kind and generous to us. Not sure what happened, but many of you out there said you did not receive a notification. We're so glad that you found your way here. We're so appreciative that you know at this time to click on the Pro Channel and go to this place. We will see you tonight for the Acolyte After Party. Member exclusive content is being released later today. Make sure you say thank you to anybody who gifted you membership. And folks, we do appreciate everything you do for us. You're the gigawatts. Make sure to subscribe to our guests, Ronnie Bradley, Tooneytown TV, Tom over at Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark, and Jonas J. Campbell of thatparkplace.com. Your support of Vacation Radio is desperately needed, gigawatt. And folks, we'll see you later today. Until then, we're sending you to That Park Place podcasts online live.
By the way,
the mainstream media just can't.
It's a 2K
Jonas,
celebration over there.
2K celebration
subscribers over there on T3PO.
Here we go. The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
So many racists.
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Mass here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint!
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. Standing man.
All right, folks, Pro here as we leave. We saw a thing that said that Butterbiscuit did not receive his super chat. Butterbiscuit will let you know we can't see it. That's why we didn't read it, but we'll find it. I'm going to put Jonas on that right now. We'll get it read during the Acolyte after party. Apologies, Butterbiscuit. Folks, T3PO Live, here we go.